and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Welcome. This is the first time in quite a while that I got on Twitter and went to tweet out the link, and I can actually see it. Elon is no longer suppressing your boys. Small victories out here. But you know what it is. It's your favorite low talker.
It sounds like the theme's still playing. What's going on here?
Hold on. Yeah, I can hear it coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from. That was weird. I don't know. But you know what it is. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsay. Righteous Reg looks very confused, but he's here. Hold on. I can't hear you, buddy.
Yo, can you hear me?
I cannot. Well, wait. Now I can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Oh, man, that was weird. The theme started playing again in my head, and I was like, this is weird. Why is this playing so loud right now? It just kept going, and it kept going, and I was like, damn, Phil can't hear me. This is weird. But now I am here. This is Righteous Reg, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. What a great time. What a great day to be here with my friend. Not a great time outside, but a great time to see my friend Philip Lindsay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Like I was telling you before I got on, I have tried to stay away from all of the doom scrolling, watching the news and other stuff. I have just been trying to stay busy, and yeah, that's all you can do.
At this point, I don't know. That's it. I don't know. Every time I do like hop upon something that happened in the news, I'm like, oh my God, this is a Simpsons episode, and get me out of it.
Yeah, except it's not funny.
It's not funny at all. It's awful.
But, you know, I hope everybody else is having a good week. Hope you enjoyed some wrestling. Off top, like everything Pro Wrestling said, rest in peace to DJ Unk. Very unexpected news to see this week. Of course, DJ Unk, popular for his single Walk It Out. What? Yeah, that just came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah, every time we come on here to one of these other unexpected hip-hop deaths, it's just so horrible. There was a time in, I think it was 2007 when Walk It Out came out. It felt like that was the only song that existed. Like every place I would go, that song would be playing. At home, the homies were playing that song. We were rapping over the beat. Andre 3000 came and destroyed it like that. There was a time when like it felt like that was the only song that existed in the world. And I love that rappers that sometimes they're one-hit wonders, but the one-hit wonder went so crazy, like it defined their legacy. And that's what it feels like. Rest in peace to DJ Unk, man. This is crazy.
Yeah. That 3 Stacks verse, that just changed the whole thing. He went crazy on there.
Man, changed the trajectory of a person. Like that was the original Drake stimulus package. Get Andre 3000 on the beat, you're out of here. And so it's crazy that as we get older and hip hop is still growing and still young as a genre itself, we're experiencing people getting older, experiencing all these crazy things. Also, rest in peace to Project Pat's son, who I heard was shot and killed out in Memphis. I'm like, what a time, man.
Sad. Condolences to Project Pat and his family. Horrible news.
Terrible, awful. What have they done to me? What's going on in Chicago, Phil? Is it snowing out there still?
No, it's actually pretty warm. It's been very cold here. We're supposed to get back into the double digits. Supposed to be actually, I think, about 40 degrees today, which is warm for us at this time of the year.
The bro said we're supposed to get back into double digits. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. What kind of life is this, you guys? What do you do? Do you just stay inside all day?
Yeah, I've been not doing much out. Like I said, I've been trying to stay busy and like that's it because it's been very cold outside.
Because, bro, I'm not going outside in no single-digit weather. Like, leave me alone, brother. It's California out here. It's like 49 degrees here. I'm excited.
Yeah, but as we talked about last week, we just started our YouTube channel.
We did.
Go follow us. A lot of people already followed us. I was very taken aback by the immediate support. Appreciate you guys that have subscribed already. But if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which, there it is on the screen. For our audio listeners, www.youtube.com/@Grapsody. I just put some of our clips on there. I put our DNA video interview on there. I just put the Zack Sabre video call that I had at the beginning of the month for the Bleacher Report interview on there. So yeah, check that out.
Got some very exclusive Grapsody content on there, not exclusive Grapsody content. Just trying to show you what you guys could expect on our page. Got some more things coming. Appreciate everybody who subscribed so far. Like, we're up to like almost 450 or something like that. Like, very exciting stuff. For it to come so quickly for us, it's very, very appreciated. And we love our Grapsody supporters. Y'all show up in the Discord and the YouTube, on the show. It's just amazing to continuously see. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. So again, if you have not subscribed, shoot us a subscribe. Appreciate everybody that already has. But if you want to get your chats read on this show, best way to do that is super chats. You can also send us your humper chats at humperchats.com/Fightful.
We know y'all love to support, and we appreciate y'all support at all times. Super chats, humper chats, just messages anywhere on the planet needed in these times. Want to send out some love to everybody out there for showing up to listen to us talk about some wrestling. There was some good stuff that happened this week. There was some not so good stuff that happened this week. I guess that's kind of pro wrestling as a whole these days. Like, you get
always
you get like two things that are great, one thing that's awful. It's just kind of the life at this point. A lot of this week was spent with people yelling at me for my Death Rider takes, and I'm like, I don't want to be yelled at anymore, you guys. Like, what if you just like,
what was the Death Rider take?
That, what do you think?
that it's time to wrap it up.
Please, man. Wrap that shit up, B.
I mean, I've been saying it. I just did an article for the Bleacher Report where I just did the same thing. So
that was perfect. Me on Reddit yesterday, and I'm like, oh, there's a thread on a Bleacher Report article, and all the people in the thread are like, yeah, this guy's spitting, like, that's right. And then I click on it, it's all Philip Lindsay. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my friend. I like that. I appreciate that. But it's true, man. Like, people, it's so funny though, because like I think the worst part about it is like we've been called internet marks for thinking it, Phil. Like, we're just like, you're internet marks. It's not like that in the buildings. Do you see it? I'm like, I do see it, dog. I'm watching the show. I don't really understand what the fight is.
Yeah, we'll get into some AEW talk. Yeah, again, stuff. This
Quick
is another
turnaround.
week, another week where the stuff that's not working, it ain't working. The stuff that is working, it's pretty great.
That's what's the balance, the crazy balancing act that's going on here. Is it's like Denise was like, I loved all the show until like the last 15 minutes, and then I get online and everybody's saying the same thing. The show was great until like the last, and like you can't keep having the show was great until the last because that's the lasting impact. We'll fully get into it here very soon, but it's been a time, you guys. People are very angry out there still, Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, very angry time, man.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. People are gonna get on and type things that
Stop.
Yeah. Gonna jump in spaces and yell things. That's what happens.
You got to get off the spaces. Leave them. What are spaces good for, Phil? Legit.
Spaces used to be a lot of fun, man. I abandoned you guys that still enjoy spaces because I figured out where this was going and I said, nope, won't be getting me.
Well, because people can't handle what they think is exclusivity. You know what I mean? They're like, well, I have to show people that I'm exclusive. So here's that exclusive thing. It's like, well, then it's not exclusive at this point.
Yeah, it got nasty when people started coming in there ear hustling and doing weird stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm good. People
Keep
going back to other people and trying to tell people things you said and trying to start stuff. Yeah, I'm good.
Too old to be gossiping. People are 40 out here. And up.
Super chats.
You want to get into why people being 40 and up?
Yeah, it's a lot of. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a lot of OGs, but they're not OGs.
Yeah.
Woo! The homie, shout out to everybody for submitting the super chat. We only got a couple here so far. The homie Van Twinblade says, I have a game for you. ER is on Max. Watch the early seasons and play Spot the Guest Star. Is filled with people that would be big 10 to 20 years later.
Yes.
You ever
Yeah.
seen
I wasn't a fan of the show, but yeah, there were a lot of people on that show that went on to be pretty big deal.
Big stars, big stars. I just watched yesterday. There's a documentary on Saturday Night Live on Peacock, and so I watched the whole. There's like 4 parts of it, and I watched the whole thing. Very interesting and intriguing stuff, and it's kind of the same thing of like there's some cast that like there's 10 people in the cast, and like all those 10 people are gigantic stars. They're like the biggest stars of the day, and it's crazy just how like the transition of that happened. Also, NBC knew what to do. They know what to do. Grapple Geekery says, I found it interesting that most of the reviews on YouTube I watched this week all talked about how the D-Riders have overstayed their welcome. When it says D-Riders, it sounds way different.
It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. But no, I'm seeing it said a lot more, and it seems like it's been more and more in January.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot more people right after Kenny came back were like, "Hey, Kenny's back. Why don't we just? That guy's cool. Like, let's do stuff with that guy." And it seems like the more and more people are like, "Just end this, man. Like, come on."
That's what's been the most glaring thing. I think people saw Kenny and they're like, "Oh yeah, we could have Kenny Omega in these main events. We could have Kenny Omega as this guy." And then to see the thing that happened this week on Dynamite, that intro, and people are like, "We could be having this at the end." Nah, this is not living up to what we could be seeing.
Yeah,
great. Tenruza, the homie says, Reg, hope you and Phil do a shoey Grand Slam week. Put some beer in there and enjoy. Do it F1 racer style. Get you some Aussie stuff as well. Love you. Shout out to the homie Tenruza. You know what a shoey is, Phil?
I do, and I can't say that I understand this fad of drinking beer out of a shoe. I can't say that that's something I'm really interested in as somebody that hates feet and thinks they're disgusting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
I was trying to figure out the science behind it because I just kind of discovered it the other day, and the homies were talking about it on the pod, and I'm like, what the fuck is a shoey? And like, what shoe do you drink out of? Because I feel like there's no shoe in the world, new or old, that I want to be drinking a beer out of.
But
you know what I mean?
You had your foot in? Like,
you know what I mean? Like, whose foot has in my foot? I'm good on my foot. If somebody else's foot, definitely don't want their foot. Like, nah, I'm chill. And you just race like the F1 racers just have like a intense thing with some nah, y'all nasty. I'll drink out of like the Stanley Cup or like, you know, something like that. But like shoey, has to be a line. Shout out to the Aussie homies though. They got a cool show coming up. Tenruza also says K-Dot Super Bowl looking fun. DJ Head might be on.
Yeah, the commercial that they put out was cool with Dad Hey Now playing when SZA poured the Gatorade on him. I'm telling you, man, Hey Now is one of the records off the album that I think is very underrated. I love that record.
I'll be elbows out, 2-step into that shit for sure. Like just like a California ass record. There's a bunch of like very California records, and
very California album.
it's a super California album. Like Kendrick like encompasses it on like a wide scale, and it's like crazy how he does that. And people like it's universal. Like people like, yeah, that's some California shit. And I just love it as somebody from California, you know. Grapple Geekery says blame Luke on Wrestle Talk for D-Riders.
Yeah. I don't think we should be calling them that, but
we can't call them D-Riders. We have to say the full government name, Death Riders. No nicknames on this one, Phil.
Yeah, shout out to Luke, man. Seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, straight up. Shout out to homie Luke. Alexander Fitzgerald says the D Riders angle was at its peak at Wrestle Dream. It lost the plot. Why did Private Party and Garcia just move on from them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The Private Party stuff, I'm very, very conflicted on. Like I said, yeah, we'll get into it with some AEW stuff, but I'm very, very conflicted about where both Private Party and Garcia are right now.
Yeah, that's kind of been my issue, Alexander, is at the beginning, I keep hopping back and thinking back to that show where all the boys were outside waiting for the Death Riders in the parking lot. There was like 8 to 9 to 10 guys out there, and they were all like, we're going to fight for this company. And like, they were helping Orange Cassidy. They were all on this. Where are those guys? Where have they been in this whole thing? They were just like, they got beat up 3 or 4 times, and they were like, you know what? We're good. We don't need to protect this anymore. Because every time Jay White shows up alone to get his ass kicked, I'm like, where is everybody?
Yeah, it kind of feels like Men in Black 2, where it's like they look at all of these young up and comers over here, like new hotness, old and busted. New hotness, old and busted. I guess we're going old and busted this week.
Old and busted. That shouldn't be the thing, man. I just don't really understand. And we'll get into Private Party talk, like Phil said. Very conflicted things on the horizon. At one point, I feel like, yeah, it's like it was a good trick, whoever played it, because I'm like, damn, dude, like I feel good, but I also feel horrible, you know?
Yeah.
Tenruza also says, over here, players after football do shoeies. That is...
Yo.
After a game, dog.
You're sweating in this shoe and you're going to pour some beer in it and drink. I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Like, even if we just won the big game, like, I'm like, yeah, great job. Like, just give me the beer in the can.
Yeah. Ugh.
I mean, I guess if you're in the moment, adrenaline, you're nasty, like, you'll drink it out of Gross. A shout out to all the Aussie homies again, though. If that's your thing, I'm with you. Deontay Soignier says, what up, y'all? Phil, how do you feel about Stardom direction in 2025 and predictions? Reg, what do you want to see? What do you want to do besides get the title off Mox? Because we all want that for the most part, all love.
I'm kind of behind on Stardom, actually. I still have to watch the last big show, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of where they're at. I think they are in the right place in terms of the top 2 champions. They just announced 2 rookies coming in, but other than that, like I said, I'm behind.
And yeah, I think the Private Party stuff is a lot of what the direction I want to talk about and what I'm interested in AEW going forward, because I think the Hurt Syndicate, spoiler alert, winning the championships could be a great thing. Like moving forward, if they like invest in the tag team division, like they could be a great kind of, you know, thing to conquer up there. Fucking Shelton and Bobby as the guys, like all the tag teams going after them could be a thing. But if this is just another I don't know, because I'm conflicted, because I'm thinking of that sign that was in the crowd this week. Bobby Lashley should be world champion. Like, immediately make him the tag team champion, and then they're like, actually, let's put him in the heavyweight title division, and then all of a sudden the tag team championships don't matter. So it's like, if they do this right, I'm in, but if they do it wrong, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Margie Love says, happy Grapsody, guys. I'm getting my house ready for a football party to celebrate my Commanders in the NFC Championship game. It's fun to love football again, just like it's fun to love wrestling. Shout out to Margie.
Yeah, nobody, I don't think anybody in Chicago has been more pleased watching the Commanders win than my dad, so they can say that he was right about us not drafting Jaden Daniels instead of drafting Caleb. Every time now I see him, he's like, I told you, Jay, we should have went and got Daniels. And I was like, I know, Dad, but he was going to struggle here. Our coach sucked. Our offensive line was terrible. He wasn't going to play nearly as good here. But he's like, no, he's still better than I said, I know.
Listen, I'm still getting used to saying, because when Margie just said Commanders, I was like, Commanders? Like, I didn't know what was happening. but I remember of the transition of this team. But shout out to you for getting to be able to celebrate. Is that game happening today?
I believe so. But yeah, it's weird because people are doing football stuff this weekend, and then the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. California is going to be represented on. I'm definitely going to watch the halftime show at least. Very excited about that. Shout out to Margie. Thank you for that generous super chat. Tenruza also says, love how Reg and Joe Pearl both ask, what does Tenruza think when it's Aussie stuff now? The Dream Team, Omega / Osprey got me pumped. Give me more.
Hey, yeah, it's tomorrow. The football game.
Okay. Shout out to everybody excited about football. I know people are very into it right now, so I'm happy for y'all. Omega and Osprey is perfect. This feels like this Kenny Omega style booking in AEW. He's like, the person I kind of want to be locked in with, I'm going to become their tag team partner. We'll establish this thing, and then we'll have the big blow off.
Yeah,
good bit.
He tried to sun him again at one point. Really good segment.
Amazing segment. We'll definitely get into that. Grapple Geekery says, Adam at what culture wins Wrestling Internet Content of the Week with the suggestion to call Osprey and Omega the Golden Brothers.
Which Adam? There's a lot of Adams over there.
A lot of Adams out there in the UK, huh?
There's a lot of Adams over on What Culture. I'm assuming you mean Adam Wilborn. I don't know, but there's a lot of Adams over there.
Adam! Tenruza says, shout out to Madison Keys for winning Aussie Open here. Australian Open here. Aussie Open is what my wrestling brain went to. Shout out to Madison Keys. And then the homie Shanika, shout out to Shanika, says, happy Saturday. Working on some signs for dailies tonight. Nice.
Hey.
Takeshita Shibata's going on tonight. Plus that intro to Dynamite? ?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bomb. Yeah, Takeshita versus Shibata should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they've loaded up the car. I was funny, like at one point I was like, damn, they're really loading up this collision here in Daly's place as the homecoming. And then I was like, oh yeah, Saturday night's main event. That's right.
Saturday. Yeah,
they fighting tonight for sure.
Yeah, they're gonna have that match. They've got Tony and Mariah having their first promo since Tony's been back, so that should be big as well.
The women's four-way.
Yeah, got Joe versus Wayne as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot going on.
Pretty hot. I'm looking forward to that. Shanika's going to be there. I'm very jealous and excited for you. Dailies is always a certain kind of energy. It's AEW's home base of the homecoming, so that should be a really fun show and crowd tonight.
Yeah.
That's all of our super chats for now. Appreciate everybody for submitting those. If you want to submit some more throughout the show to be read, have at it.
Yeah, I will get into some of our humper chats in the meantime. Got some from Arduit. He says, happy Grapsody. Only wrestling thing that got me interested this week is Takeshita versus Shibata tonight. Otherwise, I'm assuming like everyone else, I've been preoccupied. I know this is a wrestling podcast, but real talk, I got to talk on some to any and all fences thinking this is just another 4 years. It's not the time to debate pros and cons of whether it's modern fascism. It's time to blame people for voting blue. Who were going to do the same or let it get done quieter. I think that's what you mean. It's beyond time to discuss how we get back to real democracy, because it's never been that. It's time to know and support your neighbors, etc., housed or houseless. It's time to recognize that centrist isn't going to do it, nor capitalism. He also says queer or straight, because frankly, unless you're a bourgeois straight white male, you're on the end of this. It's time for more Immortal Technique and Lupe, less Killer Mike. Protect each other, love each other, and watch out for each other. Coming in heavy here. Wait, he's got one more. He says, if you ever wondered what you do in historical pressure, think 1933 Europe. I don't know what I would be doing there, but he says, think 1933 Europe is what you're doing now. Keep that in mind. Sorry for the rant, but you got to talk to people where they are. To finish with wrestling, stop putting old men in the main event, waiting for Darby. I love Cope, but push your youth, push rated FTR for trios, and make Mox a killer again. Okay, thanks for the rant. Much love, y'all. Protect each other. Y'all go read some Michael Parenti. I think that's how you pronounce that. No one is free if we aren't all free. Yeah. A lot said there. Yeah. A lot of very discouraging things this week with politics. This guy getting in and doing some of the things that we expected him to do, getting straight in there and pardoning the people that stormed the Capitol, rolling back a lot of things that are to help minorities, which I also expected, rolling back regulations on AI, and a lot of this stuff in some of these executive orders is very, very troubling. But, we're going to get through this. That's the best I can say. I don't have much other hopeful stuff to say other than that. People that are kind of looking around like, I can't believe this is happening. It's like, I don't know what you expected when he got elected again. You knew it was going to be bad. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I've definitely talked to people on the phone for the last few days that are feeling the same way, Artowit, that are very discouraged, and they kind of feel the same way of like, we have to spend the next 4 years not being complacent and waiting for another election. We have to be vigilant.
Yeah,
and
we got to be proactive.
Yeah. So, yeah, like he said, everybody, protect each other, have uncomfortable conversations with people, check on people that, might need you.
I'm happy to be in Oakland, California throughout all this craziness, because I feel like if it goes down, there's going to be some kind of something. It's either going to be the greatest thing or the worst thing of all time, but I like to not be in the middle. The things that they're rolling black on the blacks is like, oh, interesting. There's going to be a lot of not black places to exist very soon. Like, these things were working for us and are needed, and it's just going to be a very interesting 4 years for us and how we move forward as black people. So yeah,
Yes.
It's been wild. I don't know what to think.
Yeah. I wish I had something more hopeful to say, but
Me too.
unfortunately I don't. Like I said, just, take care of yourselves. From D-Lo Dig, to step and bring it back was my jam. Rest in peace, DJ Unk. Jimmy Bucket saga is getting wild. One love, everyone. Be safe. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with my guy Jimmy out there, but they got him suspended again. I don't know. Just trade him, man. He don't want to be there. You guys are in this uncomfortable standoff. Just let him go. Just trade him.
Jimmy Bucket's acting like basketball's Ricky Starks out here. I'm like, what is going on? Can you guys just get together? We want to see this guy on the court.
I just want to see him on TV. Hey, man, listen, I just want to see Jimmy Butler on TV.
Just put him on TV, dog. He's entertaining. We like him. We love him.
Just put him on TV. From Wongi says, good day, Grapsody fellas. Kenny and Ospreay versus Takeshita and Fletcher on the Aussie show. I'll take it. Yeah, that's a great match for you guys to get out the gate.
Yeah, pretty lit. There's been all this kind of discussion around Grand Slam and such venues and nights and Collision and all this, but they're loading up a great card. That match is going to be a match of the year candidate come the end of the year. So exciting.
Absolutely. Where do you want to start? We can get into GCW had a show. A lot seemed to happen there. Some stuff that I saw and died laughing at. Some stuff that was very unfortunate. Yeah, people were not happy about this show in some circles. And the people that I saw that like GCW, some of them were like, this was fine. I enjoyed it.
Yes, as a GCW watcher, as someone who got Triller TV,
GCW connoisseur,
as a GCW connoisseur, as someone who's part of the culture, I got a Triller TV subscription for $7.99. If you guys didn't know, good deal. But mostly to watch GCW because I think they are the most like. There's been years and years of debate and years of talk on the next evolution of ECW. And I think there's a lot of people that kind of encompass that. But really, I think the people that truly encompass what ECW was as a brand and how it inspired and revolutionized wrestling at the time. I think GCW represents that the most. Like their shows are the most variety based. Their shows are the most like hardcore. Like it feels like the spirit of that is in this company and them traveling around the country, telling these stories, I think is GCW. So they've been trying to set up this show for a long time at this point. The last time that they were in Hammerstein, they had everything unfortunate that could happen happened. They had a focus on what, funny enough, we'll start talking about in an AEW in a little bit, is like Jeff Jarrett was there. They had like JB. Like it was weird over in GCW. All these people that didn't really represent GCW were in the main events and the talk of the show because they were doing this big show. This year, this time is completely different. They've been telling GCW stories for the last year, like, you know, the main story being Mance Warner as the GCW world champion and being chased by Effie. There was a moment where Effie and Allie and Bussy, formerly of Bussy, broke up. That started to become the story of these two are going to have a match earlier in the Hammerstein show, and whoever wins faces Mance in the main event of the show. That's been being built up for like the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months in GCW. That's the story. They've been telling some other stories with the tag team championships. They've been telling stories with the hardcore, like everything. Almost every match felt like it had a story to it. It wasn't just a big dumb show they're doing because they're doing it. So when people were talking, I saw the people that were upset about it, and like I was like, none of these people watch GCW because everything you're mad at is stuff that happens on every single GCW show. It felt like this time they were in Hammerstein, the crowd was good, all the beats were hit. It felt like a true GCW and Hammerstein show.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Effie that they've been building this storyline all this time, and the Alley Cat injury really deflated it. Hopefully she's doing well. That looked terrible. That clip, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, so they, like I said, they built this match for like 9 months. They get to the show, crowd's hot, everything's going. The match starts. They're both in the ring. It's hot. We get to it. They start brawling. It's like legit 3 minutes in. Effie's on the floor. Allie goes for a tope under the bottom rope, and as upon impact shatters her leg in 2 places. And so like you could see it in the video. It's like I knew before I was watching it like super late, like 3 a.m. or something, and like just like not with the sound loud or anything, just like the show's playing on my phone. And so I see it, and like I see her look down and react to it, and I'm like, oh no, something is not right. And so she just like fuck, and like she just like she just know like this is pain, this is bad, this isn't what's should happen after they've been building this match for so long. And so they come to this kind of stalemate where they're like, well, we need to get Allie some help. We're in Hammerstein. It's a crazy venue to get to for ambulances. You got to go through these elevators, and it's like, it's hard for, you know, if somebody gets injured to get them immediately to where they need to get to. But they did get Allie where she needed to get to. They started, shout out to Steph DeLander, who started a GoFundMe as Allie was in the hospital. I don't know what it's at now, but I know it's pretty high. The last time I checked it, people are donating. People are supporting Allie, who needs your help in these trying times. So yeah, they built this for so long, and the match is over in 3 minutes. Like the most awful thing that could happen. I mean, the shining guiding light is everybody. I think if you know the story, the goal of this is for Effie to win the GCW championship. So like he should have won that match in all, you know, regardless of what happened, but it's just unfortunate that it had to happen that way.
Yeah. From what I saw, it looked like that really deflated the show because you had to hold the show for a little bit to make sure she was okay. And then it just still had like this negative air over the show. And, you know, it was a storyline that they had built all this time. And it didn't get the, you know, the conclusion, at least out of that match, that it should have gotten.
Yeah, but I thought for if you were a GCW connoisseur like myself and you wanted some things to be paid off, I thought they paid things off. Specifically in the tag team championship match, it was Violence is Forever, the GCW tag team champions for a year and plus now, who've been dominating multiple teams. Every great independent tag team in the world, Violence is Forever has destroyed these guys. And so they've been telling this story with the Garbage Daddies, who is Cole Radrick and Alec Price, the young go harders of GCW. They represent the spirit of what this is and the future of what this is. Alec Price is insane with some of these double jump springboard spots that he hits. Cole Radrick is a dog, just like what GCW is, and he played into the main event here of the show. But yeah, this tag team match, Garbage Daddy have been fighting to become GCW World Champions for tag team champions. Feels like for 8 months or something. They are really the tag team of the future here, and they brought the fight to Violence Forever with just like high spot, spot foo, flying all around the thing, getting the crowd into it. But Violence is Forever were just mean and angry. They came in with strikes and suplexes and brain busters, and they were just so angry. But the crowd they played a great part in a lot of these matches because they were like the sixth man for a lot of people and a lot of teams. And they were a big part of the reason why the Garbage Daddies got the victory here, because they just willed them two young guys into harnessing their energy and becoming the new GCW World Tag Team Champions. So I feel like that was a great story paid off with after the very deflating thing of watching Allie, have that unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for the most part, it felt great. Like the main event, they finally get to, if you've been watching GCW, Mance Warner as the GCW World Champion is what I've been looking for in a GCW champion for a long time. Like I described earlier, there was a moment where they had it mixed up in some weird stuff. They had it mixed up with some people who didn't really represent GCW. Then I think when Blake Christian became champion and he had that great heel run where he had a lot of great heat where people hated this guy so much.
People hate Blake.
And it still resonates. Like in ROH, people are like, nah, we hate this fool, like just because of the things that he did in GCW. And I was like, always like, it's GCW. It needs to represent. If you see the champion, you're like, okay, I know what this company is. Mance Warner was exactly that. He'd come out with the GCW World Championship. He's pushing the fans. He's spitting on them, throwing their hats, yelling at them, cussing. I'm like, I don't even know if you can do this, but like the crowds are into it. They like it. They welcome it. And so he gets into the ring. 99% of his matches, him or his opponent are bleeding. There's tables, there's doors, there's chairs. It's violence. There's sometimes fire. He came in and just like a tornado through this company, became the world champion. I think established it as what it should be. And then Effie was his greatest foe. I think they were former friends. They were in this group together. They established this thing. Effie started to become kind of the face of the brand for so long. And when you thought about GCW, usually the first or second person you thought about was Effie. And I was always like, Effie should definitely be GCW world champ one day. Some controversy happened around this. Philip Lindsay, Effie got on some pods and things and talked about AEW coming to Hammerstein a few weeks before GCW when they were still in their swag. And then he said some extra things that probably shouldn't have said, a little extra on the line. Like, I understand friendly competition, but like, maybe relax. And so that sparked some things. Ricky Starks got involved. They started pulling AEW talent away from GCW. And so I feel like Effie he felt like he had a responsibility as somebody who represented that brand. And I think that coming into the show and having that unfortunate thing with Allie, you could still feel his energy coming into the main event. Like, this is my moment. I've worked so hard to get to this place. Me and Mance need to do this thing and really put a stamp on this. And so they have the match you would expect. There's doors, there's tables, there's chairs, there's fire, there's barbed wire, there's all the things. Cole Radrick, who I talked about earlier, has this ring, which is like a Money in the Bank cash in deal. Stupid. I hate it in every company, but he comes out at one point after Effie and Mance brawl and go at it for a couple of minutes for a while. And so he teases he's going to cash it in, but he doesn't. Gives Effie a guitar. Effie hits Mance with it, hits his finish. 1, 2, 3. Effie becomes a GCW world champion. Streamers hit the thing. Everybody's excited. It feels like a major payoff to what GCW, the story that they've been telling. Like, I feel like it wasn't a flawless show, wasn't a flawless thing, but like they've been telling this story for a long time. They paid this off. They played this off in the biggest way possible, and they made the right person the champion in this moment.
Yeah, seems like that was the case. I agree with you on Mansour, man. I'm surprised no one has tried to sign Mance yet. I think he's great.
Days later, on Thursday.
That's right. He was on TNA. Forgot about that. I don't know if that means he signed, but yeah, he's one of those guys that I'm shocked that nobody's tried to sign. Remember that time period where he showed up in AEW? People were like, well, who even is this guy? Why haven't they showed a vignette for him? It's like, why don't you just watch the show and find out who he is? I don't know.
The game has really changed, Philip Lindsay, with WWE and TNA's involvement now. Like when somebody goes to TNA, I'm like, what does that mean? Because Mance is in there now. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, is WWE interested? Is it just a TNA thing? Is he signed to anything? Was it just a one-night thing? Like, there's so many questions that go off of that. And it's super interesting that he just lost the GCW championship days ago.
And he's over there. Steph just won the Digital Media Championship as well. That was also a thing on this show. PCO smashing the Digital Media Championship, starting a tirade about TNA, and then the stream just got cut out of nowhere.
You know, Philip Lindsay, we're some very skeptical individuals a lot of time on this show. And so I'm watching this show, and this is happening. He brings the chair in the ring, puts the championship on the chair, and starts hitting it with the sledgehammer like Triple H. And so he's getting frustrated because it keeps falling off the chair as he's trying to smash it. And so then he starts going on his rant about, you know, what TNA and how everything's awful now. But, you know, if it's wrestling, Phil, so I'm like, oh, this is wrestling. I don't know. Like, he could, I don't know. This doesn't feel that wild. But then, like, it wasn't wrestling. It was way more than wrestling.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought all of this was funny when it was happening. I was like, what is going on here? Like, he's smashing the... I mean, of all the belts to be destroying, the digital media belt, it's not like... It's just so funny to me. And so then he started going on this tirade, and I'm just like, but they booked you pretty strong in certain places. I don't know, man. I don't know. I was the way I cackled when the stream got cut, though, I was like, oh, okay. That's because earlier in the night, some shots were taken at AEW. There was just like the usual wrestling friendly barbs. And so when the stream got cut, I said, oh, this doesn't seem like this was that.
It was a lot going on, and so I didn't know. Like, I feel like how you felt. I was like, well, PCO, like, they gave you, like, I kind of feel like you got a resurgence down in TNA, and they let you be that full. They let you be PCO, like you were 100% you and established yourself in a different brand. But he has like some gripe about. He's like, I did their greatest house they've ever did, and I'm like, what's this gripe going on that you got? Like, they were in Montreal or something, and he got them a great house, and like. I guess he wanted to be paid for it, or I don't know what's going on, but he's very angry at them. Apparently, he don't work there no more. Actually,
yeah, his contract is up. I think they expected him to come and work some dates and drop the belt to somebody, and so this whole rant on their side is kind of like it came out of nowhere. They were looking like, oh, I thought he was coming back to do some dates with us. Like, he wasn't happy. What happened?
Thought you was gonna be here on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, all of this was wild. When I read that report about it, I was like, okay, this went left. All right.
But it's so funny by the time, like, the thing that people were complaining about, like, that they hated, by the time it got to like the alley bits, we had already seen so many cool extreme GCW. They have this ladder match for the extreme championship, and like it was ladders and barbed wire and like Carnage. Matt Justice did this DVD off of the top rope to the outside. It was crazy, like crazy shit I ever seen. I'm like, I'm fed as a GCW fan, and then you get on and this is why cage match shouldn't fucking matter. The cage match rating was like a 1.3. I'm like, stop reading cage match ratings. They don't fucking know what. Like, you watch this is your first ever GCW show and you're pointing out all the things you hate about GCW that define GCW. Like, just don't watch the show.
Yeah, the thing that with cage match currently is that there are people that want to come on there and honestly rate the shows and rate the matches, but you also have people that just don't like a product, and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go over there and like run this thing down because I hate it. Like, people do that with WWE, people do it with AEW, and I just think it's silly. Like, they've got to figure out a way to moderate that.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, they didn't get Ali out. They had too many people, so the guardrails were too close. I'm like, that don't have nothing to do with the show. Oh, there's still GCW. Yeah. I'm like, you guys are complaining about all these things that have nothing to do with what we watched on this fucking Hammerstein show. You guys are airing your grievances, and like, that's not any way to like enjoy your wrestling. You guys, you shouldn't be like that. Like, oh, Cage Match said it was one, so I'm never gonna watch it, but they're not judging it off the wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, some people just I don't like GCW, so I'm about to go and give this a low rating just because I think it's funny.
Oh, look at this! Like, these are not good bits, you guys. Like, these are real wrestling companies that are trying to survive and strive and do things, and like, these things matter to some people, and like, they see this and they get upset about it. I use Cage Match as someone who writes articles, but I use it for historical purposes and dates.
Yeah,
not like what people thought, because like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, people should have a place where they can rate these things and like realistically give their opinion, but people are clearly abusing it in some ways.
Mm-hmm. It must be pretty impossible to moderate, and I think it's like Cage Match is like a German site too, so it's like translations and times and all these things going. Are probably pretty daunting task, but they should invest in it at this point because like it's a good resource for things, and people are just using and abusing. It's not that great, but I think if you want to check out, like I said, it's only $8, and you can get even better than the $8. Triller offers a free trial for 7 days. If you want to watch this GCW show for free, go to Triller TV. This is not an ad, and get you a subscription. It's a really fun show. They have a lot of really fun shows on the thing, but I think as a GCW fan, I definitely feel satisfied. Shout out to the homie Effie for becoming the GCW World Champion. If you want to donate to the homegirl Alley Catch, please, sending love and prayers out to her. She did have the successful surgery at this point, so that's all love. Mance is in TNA now. A lot has happened since that show, so love out to the GCW homies. I think they did it.
Yeah. Speaking of TNA, also had a pay-per-view. Good place to switch gears and talk about them. TNA is just such a funny company to me, man.
It's hilarious.
It's like every time you think this thing is down and they're down in the dumps, they will come back and put on a good show. They'll come back and do something big. And I thought this was a pretty good show for them. I think after the partnership announcement with WWE and people wondering how this would affect their product, how this would transition into NXT and possibly Royal Rumble, I thought they put on a very good show here. Opening match was much better than I expected. Moose versus Ace Austin was surprisingly very good. I still don't know why Moose is X Division champion, but this match was a lot of fun.
Listen, Moose as X Division champion is confusing. When I first heard about it, there was this rumor that he was retiring the X Division championship, but people just got their things crossed up. He's creating his own X Division championship. I knew it wasn't going to be the worst idea because I remember back to the times he was doing things with the Rascals, and he would be catching them out of midair and they'd be flying and all this shit. And he has like a place in the X Division, so this makes a lot of sense. Ace Austin is fighting with a different kind of purpose at this point, the way that he's working. He's always been a great worker, but like post the thing that happens with, shout out to the homie Chris Bay, sending love out to him. Post the thing that happened with Chris Bay. Ace Austin's been fighting with an extra oomph or something, and he's just getting better every day. So I knew this would be one that would actually cook.
Yeah. I did not see the any of the pre-show matches, so I didn't see Frankie Kazarian versus Leon Slater, but was excited to see Leon Slater on this show. Big fan of Leon Slater. The but yeah, I was very surprised at how good the opening match was. Moose, of course, picked up the win, but what a match! I thought that this was a lot of fun. I thought this was a great way to start the show. In TNA fashion, the stuff that I really liked was really good. The TNA stuff that is in the TNA wheelhouse sometimes is not for me. But the stuff that I like I said, the opener, the women's match was very good. Tessa versus Jordan was very good. I thought it was match of the night, and I was sitting there watching it the whole time, and the reactions around it, of course, that was the big talking point. That crowd booed Tessa out the building, basically. And by the way, great crowd. I thought that the crowd was fantastic throughout the show, but they weren't having any of Tessa. They were booing her throughout. We got several chants for her, including "She's a racist." That was a clip that was all over the internet at one point. Very uncomfortable. But I think as a send off for Jordan, I thought this match was very good, man. Like, when you look at like her resume of matches for like the past few years with the Knockouts division, the feud with Deanna, the stuff with Masha, even like some of the like matches she's had with NXT or like the appearance in the Royal Rumble, she's been having like a fantastic run. And so I thought this was a great way to finish off her time here. There were spots in the match that I was like, oh, I don't think that was supposed to happen that way. But overall, I thought it was a very good match.
This is the thing we're gonna run into with old Tessa Blanchard, huh? Philip Lindsay is beyond all the controversy and all the things. Homegirl can work, so like she's gonna continue to like have these matches where she's fucking working, and people are like, oh damn, she could work. And I think a lot of people are going to forget because they don't care.
Yeah, the thing is with her, it was never. None of this was ever an indictment on whether she can work or not. We already knew that. We already knew she was a very good wrestler. There's a reason why TNA put their world championship on her. They don't just put the world championship on just any woman. And there's a reason why people kept trying to bring her back and not just make her additions to their company. They were trying to make her a focal point. When Wild brought her back, they were trying to make her the big selling point. And that's because she has it. She can wrestle. She has the look and all of these other things. Boy, not a good job. Not a good idea to go in that direction, but she can work and she has the look. She talks pretty well. If you want somebody to be like the face of a women's division, I can see why you would pick her. Of course, all of the extracurriculars around this make it hard to want to give her a second chance. And that's also why I continue to say, maybe you could have just came back and like did some interviews and did like some press and said, hey, I mishandled this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the people I harmed. And, you know, I just want to be able to do the thing that I love. And we still haven't got that. I think that that's the thing that's missing here. That is going to stop a lot of people from giving her a second chance. But this match was very good. And I think it's not just a testament to how good she is, but Jordan is an excellent wrestler. We know that these are two women that work very well. They surprisingly had very good chemistry in this match, which I'm pretty sure they've worked before this match. I'm pretty sure they've worked indies. And yeah, I thought this was easily match of the night.
I'd like to send love out to Jordan Grace for, like you said, being an amazing champion in TNA, establishing as one of the best ever to do that. But most importantly, being somebody that's like, oh, I'm not really super excited about this person coming in, and I'm not that excited about working with her. But if I do got to work with her, I'm still going to be 100% Jordan Grace, a true professional and a true great artist at this. And I'm super excited for her in the Royal Rumble.
I definitely have to.
Because last year she killed it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're absolutely right. She was a pro here. I thought that she came in, didn't try to, you know, boo-boo face this thing or make Tessa look bad. She made Tessa look great on the way out. And then also she put on a great match in her last match. It's cool seeing like the backstage stuff and people giving her farewell backstage. But yeah, like you said, I expect to see her in the Rumble next month and probably on NXT after that.
Pretty soon after. And if she isn't, are you guys idiots? Like, what do you mean? Like, of course she should be. Do it. Give her all the money.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm happy for her. I think
Mhm.
like despite some of the stuff around this, I think this is going to be a great next step for her. That fan base is already very much into her, so I
Yep.
think this is going to be a good move for her.
How did you feel about the NXT representation on this show, and kind of how they promote? They were like, "This is Genesis NXT," or what? You know what I mean? Like they like put an emphasis on it.
Yeah, they definitely put a lot of emphasis on this being like a kind of a reset for TNA as a brand,
Mhm.
and we did get a lot more people from NXT here. Our gripe sometimes of that's who they sent over there. You guys got their champion, and they sent this person over here. But no, they had a lot of representation. They had their tag team champions here. They had
Yep.
Fraxium sitting ringside during the Hardys versus the Rascals, which was a fun match. Hardy Boys still perpetually over. People love these guys. No surprise there.
Forever.
It was cool seeing the Rascals come out in their like Hardy Boys inspired gear, and you see how much they inspired them. That was cool. But yeah, Fraxium was ringside. Then we got the Fraxium match on Thursday with Rascals. Cora Jade showed up as well during a Knockouts Championship match. I'm assuming that's leading to something with Masha. I think there was somebody else here. Ashanti was on the pre-show. Ashanti the Adonis.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, like this, like you said, that was our only gripe was like send some real NXT people over here, and you sending considerably the best tag team in wrestling right now over there is a great sign. As in more of that is needed.
Yes. I thought the I Quit match was very good as well. Very high on Mike Santana. It seems like TNA is high on him at this moment, trying
Yeah,
to
he's
like
cooking.
propel him up into the main event scene. He looks great. He looks like he's in the best shape of his career. He looks motivated, and I thought he put on a very good match with Josh Alexander here. The I Quit stipulation can be a bit hokey sometimes, but I thought that they got the best out of it. I really loved this match. Josh Alexander made him look like $1,000,000 on the way out. Another guy, shout out to him for being a pro, putting Mike over big on the way out, and letting people know that he's done. If people don't know, he is going to be a free agent next month, so he will be heading somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe he'll be heading to WWE. I don't know.
Listen, that's a big free agent right there. Somebody needs to give Josh Alexander some money. Whether WWE will be dumb for him to be so adjacent to them and not offer him the money, but AEW would also be dumb to not make a play for him because I think this guy's a major player.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I really enjoyed this I Quit match. I thought this was probably my second favorite match on the show. But I think it succeeded in not just being a good match for both these guys, but it definitely continued to make the case that Mike Santana is going to be a main eventer.
Yeah. I like that he was just like, I'm going to go over and do, because I established my brand and who I am in TNA, but I'm going to go back and become a main event world champion there very soon.
Yes. Like I said, the Hardys, Rascals was a fun match. The women's match, the Knockouts match, was also fun for what it was. It was kind of like a deathmatch style match. Enjoyed that. Main event. They finally pulled the trigger because I was wondering all this time. You got possibly one of the most over guys in this entire industry. Put your championship on them. It took them 2 shows to do it, but we're finally here. They still had the shenanigans in this match that I don't understand. They still had JBL coming out. Kazarian came out with his call your shot gauntlet trophy thing at one point. I'm like, just stop trying to tease us with it. Just put the belt on him, man. Joe Hendry came out to a great reaction. That crowd loved this guy when he came out and was standing on the apron doing a wave your hands, and that entire arena was waving with him. I was like, yeah, he's out of here.
Yeah. Joe Hendry finally did the big one in TNA. I thought that a year ago they were going to do this, but yeah, he's still so over. So it's not the craziest thing that they did it here. They established Nick Nemeth as a major player here, and he had 9 defenses as the world champion. And I like the things that he did in this moment, but it was so Joe Henry's time. It's been Joe Henry's time for a long time.
Absolutely. And Nick looked good here. This was a solid match. It just some of the shenanigans and stuff around it. I'm just like, why are we still doing this? The JBL stuff, Ryan Nemeth being involved and all. I just don't need all of that.
What is the JBL bit? Why does he keep showing up in every company terrorizing?
I don't get it, man. I don't understand what's happening here. But that guy's getting multiple checks. He was just on Raw the other night. He was here. Like you said, he was on GCW. That guy's
on MLW. I'm like, why does he keep showing up everywhere?
I don't know, man. But JBL's been outside, man. I don't know who asked for this, but we're gonna get it.
It's so
You're gonna
weird
get it whether you want it or not.
Like, it felt like he was out of wrestling as a whole. Like I would see him on like CNBC and shit, like talking about business and finance, and then he was like, actually, I want to be on every wrestling show that there is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get the bit here, but he showed up again, knocked somebody out. Still does a great clothesline.
Still hits.
But yeah, I was thinking the whole time, like, what's going on here? Why is he still here? Why are we doing this Ryan Nemeth thing? Ryan Nemeth kept yelling, "That's my brother!" At one point, he just kept saying it over and over. And I was like, okay, buddy, we know you guys have the same last name. You guys look very similar. I know.
And you won't stop telling us that that's your brother every time you have a chance. You're like, hey, you know my brother? Yeah, we do know your brother. You know.
Yeah, which I'm sure is the bit, but I was just sitting there the whole time. Yeah. Run it into the ground, buddy, man. Just reel it in a little bit. But overall, I thought this was a very fun show. I thought it was a good way to reset the brand for them coming into 2025. I expect to see some of these people in the Rumble. Like you said, Jordan, I wouldn't be surprised if we also see Masha based on the stare down with her and Cora. Of course, we're definitely going to see Joe Hendry in the Rumble. I feel like there's no way we don't see Joe Hendry in the Rumble.
Yeah, that'll be a dumb move to not put, especially him as the TNA World Champion. That's the point that I really didn't get why he wasn't World Champion a few months ago. Because I'm like, they keep having these big moments and putting him in spots in NXT and making him like, when they talk about the crossover of NXT and TNA, he's like the main guy that all the NXT fans are like, we like this guy. And so every moment he should have been World Champion anytime he was present on that show.
Exactly. I mean, you had stuff like football players singing his theme song, and it's become this huge meme, and it's transcended wrestling. Like, put your bet on this guy. This guy is a massive deal right now. Like, it's not going to hurt you to put your bet on him and like give your show more exposure. But him being champion now, I feel like it's basically guaranteed he's going to be in the Rumble. They can't wait to put him in the Rumble and have that nameplate under him. TNA World Champion entering the Rumble. It's definitely going to happen. Him
this
saying
year,
that
they'll finally have the TNA and Knockouts World Champion in the match. I think that's a big move.
Absolutely. And him that clip of him saying that he wants a match with Cena. This is Cena's farewell tour. I definitely think he's probably going to be in the ring in the Rumble with Cena. It just all writes itself.
Cena's such an internet fool that he knows all of the lore of Joe Hendry and probably would do a match with him. I don't know, and definitely not in TNA, but like in WWE. I saw somebody Photoshop Cena with the TNA World Championship. I was like, you guys are being very generous out here. Like, I like your ambition and what you're thinking of, but like, come on.
He should just win the Digital Media Championship and then, like, go to all of these media outlets holding it.
That's how they stick it to PC. All right, we glad you broke this championship. Cena's our champion. Cena as the Digital Media Champion.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be so good. And that'd be the most TNA thing ever. Like, no, we don't want you to be the world champion. We want you to be the Digital Media Champion.
What is Digital Media Champion John Cena doing here?
What is Digital Media Champion John Cena is doing here is hella funny.
Yeah, that would be the funniest thing ever. But yeah,
shout
overall,
out to TNA. It feels like there's good energy like around it, and it felt like it had a like I've been waiting for them to have this pay-per-view ending for a while now with Joe Hendry standing tall. And then they parlayed that into looks like a pretty exciting and energizing taping on Thursday, or a live show actually. It was on Thursday.
Yeah, I saw some of it. A lot that they came out of pay-per-view with, like I said, the tag team championship match for the Rascals and Fraxium. I thought that was a good call to come straight out and do that.
Yep.
I don't know when we're probably going to get the Cora Masha match, but I have to assume that's going to happen soon.
Feels like that could happen on an NXT show, which is kind of wild to think about also.
Yeah, Masha was just on NXT like 2 weeks ago, so that makes sense.
Shawn Michaels is cheesing. He was like, I got me one. I was like, you do got you one, HBK. Like, give Masha everything. She's the GOAT.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a fun show overall. There were some bits of it that I was looking around like, TNA's gonna be TNA, but they're that's why I said TNA is such a funny company, because they're always gonna give you their brand of stuff, but then they'll give you this match where I'm like, that was like really great, like surprisingly great.
That's been TNA's entire career trajectory. Like some TNA shows come up on YouTube when the next up, and it's like TNA from 2005, and it's like some of this is like the worst thing you ever seen. But then Samoa Joe and AJ Styles show up, and you're like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing I've seen in my life. And I love that they've continued that. It's like you're always gonna get some kind of good to great thing with the X Division or the Knockouts, and then the rest is like hit or miss a lot of the time.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like that's been the brand for a while. Hey, check out this X Division and Knockout stuff. Hey, by the way, we got this main event stuff over here. Check this out. You like this guy? And it's like, not
like
really,
JBL?
But, not really, but I'll watch it.
I'll leave the show on until the main event.
Yeah, I got it on,
But they did it. Shout out to TNA. They finally did it. Joe Hendry's the champion. Well, who cares how long it took to get here? He's here. Shout out to Joe Hendry. Still super over and well-deserved on that victory.
Yeah, very well-deserved. I went down a rabbit hole, and I was watching some battles and stuff on YouTube. And I ended up watching AJ Francis versus
that's
Saga.
right.
And I was like, no, this is great. And the whole time I was sitting there like, man, this would have been better if AJ was still digital media champion, but you took the belt off of him and put it on PCO, and he went to smash the belt somewhere. I'm like, man, him standing there doing that battle with the digital media championship either on his shoulder or around his waist, that would have been pretty cool.
Listen, they did. I seen them make a move of making somebody champion just for a week or two, just to show it. Like, you could have just made him champion for 2 weeks, did this battle, and took it away from him. I would have made him fucking TNA World Champion if it were me. For them 2 weeks, had him as the champion. See, they don't want their championship everywhere like I would have their championship everywhere. Make him TNA World Champion for 1 week. He does the battle holding the fucking World Champion, and now forever you have that footage,
Yeah. Hey man,
we're thinking hip hop brain.
yeah, they're definitely not. They don't care.
No,
you're gonna battle who? Nah, we're gonna pass. And the battle was
people still do that.
yeah, and the battle was great. Gotta give AJ his credit. He came to battle. His verse was great. But nah, Saga's different. I knew when Saga started, he dropped that bar. Off top, 10 toes down, coup de grace. I was like, all right, man. It's been fun, AJ.
Nice knowing you. Listen, I send love out to every battle rapper. As a rapper, that shit is hard. So, AJ, for you even to think about it and enter it and have a great showing, that's dope, man.
Yeah, he did his thing. But yeah, Saga's different. Not just anybody can hop in that circle with him, man.
No. It's hard to send me a tomato can to start with. Now you starting with a heater.
Yeah, send us your super chats, Humper chats. Again, best way to get your chat read on the show.
Yep, if you want to send love out to your homies, send in a Humper chat. We got a couple from Tenruza. Tenruza says, send love to the U.S. from Australia. Come visit us. Them big spiders.
It's not the first thing I would have thought about, but yeah, there are big spiders out there, I guess. I don't know.
Listen, I'll come and drink a shoey out there one day, Tenruza. He also says need a Wrestle or Wale Mania type thing for All in Texas. Can't stay. Sorry, lads. Megan Bain is her. Gabe Kidd versus Osprey, please. Drake, please don't come to Australia. I love you. Shout out to 10 Rudes. I appreciate you for always coming in and showing support.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's gonna do some kind of meet up or something in Arlington. We're talking about doing one. I don't know. It ain't gonna be Wale Mania level, but you know,
definitely not.
Yeah,
just like that's crazy.
Yeah. Somebody put something together for you, Tim Ruza.
Texas, that's going to be fun. We're going to be in Vegas, though, which is also going to be fun.
Yeah, very much looking forward to Vegas.
That's our super chats.
I don't think we have any more humper chats. We do not.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into some of this AEW stuff and preview Saturday night main event for you, I'm going to hit you guys with a word from our sponsors.
BetOnline.AG is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.AG. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline.AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.AG, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
As always, please bet what you can, bet responsibly. But for all your sports betting needs, BetOnline.AG is the place to go. AEW was, like I said, polarizing, mixed bag. But I thought starting with the collision match, the opening match, that Texas Death Match, was awesome. I came on here and was looking around thinking, all right, why is he doing this retirement angle? I said this maybe less than 24 hours before this match. Then I sat and watched the match. I was like, oh, no, this was fantastic.
Yeah, as I was watching that match that Saturday, I was like, damn, Phil and I were on some bullshit earlier today talking about Chris Daniel. We're like, oh, why would Hangman be locked into this? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So they start telling the story, a little bit of backstory. Then they get to the match, and there's barbed wire. It's like Chris Daniels is gushing blood like minutes into the match. They're on fire jacks. Hangman is, like you said, just like the character of this show, like the main character. Yes. He feels like it. He looks like it. He wrestles like it. Like his intensity of like, damn, do you really want to kill Christopher Daniels? Like, what did he do to you? Like, you are angry right now. You got barbed wire in his mouth. You're just like destroying his body, putting him in all kind of compromising positions. And Chris Daniels is like legit fighting for his life to get back into this match. Like, just a really great story. So I'm loving the story of Hangman absorbing the Angel's wings and like, this is mine now. Like, I'm taking this from you as I take the rest of your superpowers away from you as a wrestler.
Yeah, this match was very good. And I think the story around the match was even better. Of course, the Texas Death Match has become Hangman's signature match at this point. He was very, very violent in this match. Christopher Daniels several times kept trying to come back and show you he still got it. BME still looks like one of the greatest moonsaults you've ever seen.
That sandwich, that was crazy.
Yeah, he still looked great. The flatliner into the Koji clutch still hits. He hit a lot of greatest hits in this match. He looked fantastic. This was a great send-off for him if this is his last match. But yeah, Hangman was trying to kill this guy.
I was like, yo, what's up with Hangman? Like, we're supposed to be having this nice, happy-go-lucky, like, Chris Daniels is on the send-off, and Hangman's like, no, I'm going to kill this fool. Like, I don't care. Yes. Like, I want him to bleed to death. here on this show. Christopher Daniels is crazy. I think he's 54 years old. He's saying that this was his last match ever, but the way that he was working, like you could work for if that minimum 5 more years if you really wanted to, but like to bow out at this point with a match like that, one of your maybe top 10 greatest matches of your career as your last match, like what a way to go.
Yeah. The ending stretch of this match, there were several disgusting things with the barbed wire, the table spots, but that buckshot he hit him with at the end, where he just hits him in the back of his neck and he just falls flat and just like sells it like death. I was like, oh my God, I think he's done. I don't think you need to touch him again. And then he proceeds to like stand over and hover over him like, yeah, you better not get up. Like, you better not get up.
I was like, what's up with Hangman though? But no, that buckshot to the back of the neck, dude, that was like, all right, dog, leave him alone.
Filthy.
He's already dead, dude. Let him die in peace because you're trying to kill him. Disgusting. The buckshot lariat, the regular one, is one of the most hard, disgusting, angry finishers. And to the back of an unsuspecting wrestler, dangerous.
Yeah, that looked nasty. And then he walked away. I loved the camera shot of him walking away. It mirrored the shot from at the end of All Out, where he gets to the top of the ramp and he second guesses himself. And you know, I thought because it looked very similar to that shot that he was going to do the same thing, show a little remorse and then walk away. No, he went right back down there and hit this guy with Angel's wing and then walked away. I
told you the Angel's Wings was like, this is mine now. Like, I'm going to hit you with this because I'm taking this. Like, this is the last time you're ever going to see this move because you're taking it. It's mine. I loved it.
Yeah, I love the story arc of him having to escalate with every Texas death match he's been in. And then he gets into this match with a guy that is really not ready to be in this world with him. And he just like completely annihilates him. And in a moment where he should feel bad for beating this 54-year-old man like this, and because he's been through all of this stuff with Hangman, but Swerve and all these other people, he's just like, no, I did what I needed to do to win this match. He challenged me to this match. He didn't know what he was getting into, and I put him away. And so then you get the stuff on Wednesday where he comes out, does the angel wings, and you're like, man, you've learned nothing. Christopher Daniels gives us the official announcement that his doctor told him he should not wrestle again. That would have been his last match. And then he says, you know, you're my friend. I just wanted to help you. And you could see in him the reaction I thought we were going to get Saturday, where he felt remorseful, like, no, this guy's really my friend, and I took something away from him. He's not going to be able to wrestle. And it's the thing that he's been doing since the Swerve feud. At the end of this, he took it too far, and he didn't realize he took it too far with Swerve. And in this moment, he realized, I took this too far. And when the camera tried to come to him, he pushed the camera away and went away. I thought that was very interesting. And then you tie that with the Max stuff. I definitely think this is heading towards Hangman turning face.
This is definitely the Hangman redemption story being told here. I love that conflicting moment that you described of in the Swerve feud and post that with Jay White. He's taking his foot off the gas in a lot of these matches and a lot of these moments to try to, maybe he's going over or he's too emotionally invested. And so in this match, he's like, I'm not taking my foot off the gas. Like you said, Chris Daniels wasn't really prepared to be in this war with you and bloody and fighting for his life. And Hangman's like, you got here. We're here now. This is my match. When it gets to this point, I have to go 100. And he went 100 and it was dangerous. But like, that story of him being like, if I have an opportunity now, I can never take my foot off the gas because Swerve was right there to get me and all these people, Jay White was in there to compromise on the moment. But also that Christopher Daniels immediately coming in and being like, dude, I know what you're doing. I know that these people drove you over the edge, but what you did specifically to me is I'll never wrestle again. So like, thanks.
Yeah.
Great story.
Great story. Great character work again from Hangman. Like his facial expressions during that segment were great. really, really good stuff. And again, I do think this is heading towards a face turn. I'm very much glad that it looks like, because Max came down and he addressed Jarrett again. Jarrett earlier in the night had a change of heart with the way that he spoke to Max the week before. And then Hangman came out and was basically like, get out of my ring. That seemed to tell me that we're eventually going to move forward with Hangman versus Max. And that is a relief. I hope I hope I'm not misreading that. I hope that that's where this is going, because I don't think any of us want to see this Jarrett and Max thing make it all the way to the pay-per-view. If I'm AEW, your next pay-per-view match for Max should be Hangman.
Woo, we took a big step there, Philip Lindsay. I was nervous after that promo that these brothers engaged in where they said some vile things to each other. I was like, you know what? Forget the Death Riders. We got to wrap this up. Like, I fucks with you, Jeff Jarrett, but like, I don't know if this is really the time and the place. And so this week for them both to kind of come out and be like, I know we talked a lot of shit about each other, but I'm trying to move on, essentially, is what it felt like. Like, I don't like immediately how Jeff Jarrett was like, well, fuck Max, I'm going to be the world champion. It's like, no, that's maybe not the idea, but I see what you guys are going in that direction. But yeah, the Hangman and Max little stare down, AEW rarely does those where they don't mean anything. And so for that to happen, and at that moment with Hangman and his thoughts and changing views, and Max just needs something. Like I said, the thing that I was angry about with Jeff Jarrett, like, Max needs to be engaged with another top star, and they need to be both establishing who's the best in AEW. And there's no other top star that he could be engaged with right now better than Hangman Page. Like, that's a perfect transition for both of them.
Yeah, I think this rematch has been overdue. I think they've stayed away from each other long enough that you can come back now and get a good feud out of this.
Yep.
And if you are gonna turn Hangman babyface, Max makes the perfect sense. Like, people, first of all, people love Hangman.
They do.
So that's just first. People want.
He was a cool heel for most of the time, anyways.
Yeah, people want to cheer for Hangman anyway. But when you put him out there with Max, Max is going to get heat, and people are going to cheer for Hangman.
Max, damn, dude, this is gonna get crazy because Hangman already got that buzzing energy going there. But yeah, just like I said, Max just needs something like this to get immediately back into there, because Max is still that guy when it comes to mic work. There's not a lot of people better than them. But beyond that, when it comes to fucking Graps, I was thinking about Max and Kenny from Collision that one time. Like, they got Max fucked up. Like, he's one of the best that work in this company. And where Hangman is in his career right now and how he's been working, and Max needs to get into something like that. So this is great. I hope that at Revolution in LA, I'm watching Hangman Page and MJF go at it, because thinking of Hangman or thinking of MJF and Jeff Jarrett wrestling at Revolution is like, don't do that.
Please don't do that. But yeah, these two guys, I think both of our issue with both of these guys the weeks before was they should be either adjacent to the world title picture, or they should be in a feud with another person of their stature. And this is exactly that. So if Hangman's not gonna be in a world title picture, put him in there with a guy like Max that he has history with, that is a big name, that's already a marquee match, regardless if it's for a title or not.
Yeah, I think Hangman is still the most compelling character in AEW, and I thought, like last week we talked about Christopher Daniels stuff was confusing, but they totally like tied all those loose ends in like 2 episodes and made me even more invested in Hangman off of the backs of it. So it's about to get that time. But then in contrast, we started Dynamite, and what a lot of people are calling the hottest Dynamite intro ever. I think as far as undeniable and world championships and what there are, they're not 2 better guys in the company that you want to focus on. I love that Will Ospreay, of course, comes out and he wants to confront Kenny Omega. Kenny comes out, and the part that I loved was with the Death Rider stuff, Ospreay said he had not acknowledged it. He's like, I know what's going on over there. I know what's going on in the world title scene. I want to get there, but the Don Callis family is in the way, and I need your help getting them out of the way.
Yes, I agree. I I mean, well, first of all, I like this segment to start the show because it felt like old Dynamite. This felt
Yes.
like a day one, year one episode of Dynamite to me. Like this reminded me a lot of the Cody stuff when Cody went in that box to which sounds crazy. Went into the skybox. Well, when Cody stormed into that skybox to fight Jericho at the inner circle.
When Cody went into that box. It's
Cody stormed into the skybox because I had to rephrase that. That sounded kind of crazy. But yeah, this reminded me of a lot of those kind of segments. Even like the fight backstage, it felt very similar to that. So I was excited that they're doing stuff like that again. And man, I don't know if it's just that we missed the guy. I don't know if it's just that the stuff around him is refreshing, but it's just crazy how every time Kenny is on the screen, it's more exciting than most of the rest of the show.
That's the perfect way to describe it, Philip Lindsay. It just feels refreshing. The way that when he comes out, Battle Cry was back, and I was like, this feels like the energy. He comes out, he's getting down to the pyro. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. His new theme, he can use that in certain moments. Feels great in Japan. It feels all that. But like, it's a Dynamite, and you're about to face off a Will Ospreay. It's Battle Cry, baby. And that's what the energy felt like. Bro. And then he started talking that cash shit, Phil. He wasn't. he was letting Will Ospreay know.
He did a very similar thing to Punk that night when he said, yeah, look, man, you had your moment. You came over here. You had that run. I wasn't here. But listen, I'm back. You can go back to being second string now. I'm the guy. Get out of here. Like, and you think I'm going to trust you after you tried to break my neck and stab me with a screwdriver? No, what the fuck you think this is? Like, no, I don't. Like, I love that he is just like not having it with any of those guys. Every time Callis shows up at the top of the ramp, and before he can say anything, he starts running in the other direction. It's funny every time he does it.
I loved it this week because they just had the camera on Don, so you couldn't even see Kenny, but he immediately starts running away. Because it's on site with Kenny, and I love that. But that's my favorite bit about guys like Kenny Omega who could say this shit of being like, great run, Ospreay. You've been killing it out here, but only because I wasn't here. Like, I'm number one and you're number two. Like, that's just, like, you've been my young boy. You've been living in my shadow the whole time. The only reason you stabbed me in the head with that screwdriver is because you want to be me. And I'm like, damn, Kenny's kind of, he's kind of spitting right now.
Cooking. And everything that's happening right now is because you did this to me, and now somebody is doing the exact same thing to you. Loved everything about that. But yeah, the brawl and everything that went after this, great stuff. I thought the Don Callis family came off looking great in this. Again, I think we kind of had Don fucked up at some point because we were all like, I'm kind of tired of Don, but you see more and more Don works as a manager when he does things like this. Brian Cage and Lance also did very well in this segment. They made both of these guys look like big monsters. The stuff with Ospreay where Lance is like wiping the table with him like cartoon character. All very funny stuff.
Yeah, when he dragged him across, like he dragged somebody across the bar, knocking all the drinks down. Hilarious. No, I think that with the Don Callis stuff, like, I was excited about Cage and Archer as a team because I think they're just a fun dynamic. But like, Don Callis adds something even extra to it in the way that they're encompassed in this, and how that Ospreay and Omega had to work together to put Archer through the table and get the things together. Really cool brawling segment because it felt like you said, it was the energy of early Dynamites, and it almost felt like we were watching like a tag team or a 6-man match, but without it being official, and it just felt like really good energy.
Yeah, I thought this was a great teaser for the actual tag match at Grand Slam. I think this was a great way to get people excited for this. This still made Takeshita look like this untouchable final boss behind all of these minions. Like, you got to get through all of these guys to get to me. The thing that I also liked about it is when Ospreay brought up the world title stuff, Kenny Omega didn't even react to it. It wasn't like he cared at all about dealing with those guys because he's kind of like, almost like I'm not even gonna react to those guys over there with the world title because what makes you the guy that thinks you should fix that? You need to get behind me basically and let me fix it. Like, why are you talking like you need to save this company? This is my company.
Yeah, like Kenny's like that energy of like, we're gonna get to that, but you're not the one that should be addressing it. Like, we'll get to it when I'm ready. You know what I mean? And it was that kind of energy the whole time of him just like big bro and Osprey. Osprey's like, I want to do these things and I want to live this life. And Kenny just been like, all right, buddy, get in line. Like, I'm the king here, and you're the prince, and you're just standing behind me. But that's until they got into the brawl and they had to start working together. They eventually get out to the arena. They both climb some very high things, and they hit double moonsaults. Both look incredibly beautiful. Osprey's lands on his feet, essentially. I'm like, what goes through your mind, Philip Lindsay, of like, okay, at the beginning, you guys are going to hit moonsaults. Find the highest things you can backflip off of.
Yeah. And I just like the story behind this of Osprey's been doing this lone wolf thing since he stopped dealing with the Don Callis family, and he doesn't have any of his guys from United Empire anymore. And probably for the first time since Kenny Omega has been with this company, he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have anybody behind him that was part of the story that they told at Wrestle Kingdom. And so to continue that here, I thought that this was great. And he's kind of looking around like, I don't trust this guy. Like, I don't have any friends, but I'm not going to trust you. Like, I've been betrayed by two of my best friends in the world. You think I'm going to trust you after you tried to stab me with a screwdriver? No.
And in the back of Kenny's mind, he's like, I know that you still want my spot. Like, like you want my help now, but at the end of the day, you still want what I have and what I am. And I'm not going to let you take it. I'm not going to let you stand behind me and stab me in the back. But, you know, they did eventually get to the announcement. Kenny Omega gets the mic and he's up there yelling and screaming. Kenny Omega, I talked about this with Denise. Wasn't he kind of giving up? We're kind of reiterating here heel vibes though, because like the way that he was giving it up to Osprey and big broing him, and then at one point he's like, Takeshita, my young boy. I'm like, a babyface wouldn't really give off the energy that Kenny Omega has been giving up, but he deserves to do it because he's Kenny Omega, you know?
I don't think it's that he's a heel. I think that this is very much giving off that he's coming back for everything. You guys, you know, you guys had your fun. I got betrayed by everybody. I sat at home and watched what everybody was doing while I was sick. And then I went to Japan. I got booed in Japan. I just think he's just frustrated and angry with everybody. And I think it shows in everything he's saying. Like, because I mean, yeah, he liked Takeshita coming in. He vouched heavily for this guy. And of all people, you turn on me and go side with Don? I just think he's just mad with everybody at this point.
He just fed up with all, but he's like, you guys like Takeshita. I like him too. That's why I brought him in here. But that's my young boy. Don't be trying to act like he's the guy. I'm the guy.
All of these guys are my sons. Like, all of these, what are you? You're now a belt collector? Like, who did you see do that?
Yeah. He's not lying. That's the issue. It's like, I guess it's not really heel things because it's all true. He's like, you guys all betrayed me. You guys are all still trying to take my spot. Fletcher's here too, and you want to be me so bad. Like, what is this? Like, should I be here? Like, am I wasting my time with this? Y'all are all my sons. But it's like, it's true. But then Osprey is like, well, I think in his brain, he's like, I've already proven that I'm better than you by beating you, and I'll probably beat you again. But it's not about that right now. So he's giving up that energy of like, I don't run any trouble really at this point because there's bigger fish to fry, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I love Osprey being mellow as well. And Osprey does kind of have a bunch of big jokers in his hand. He can look around like, I beat Brian.
Yep.
You didn't. You had to go to a time limit draw with him.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I was the man here. I was putting on possibly the best match at every pay-per-view.
Match of the year.
Yeah. So I feel him. He kind of looking like, all right, I feel you. Get your shit off, but
just great all around though. Great opening segment. They of course announced the match. Osprey and Omega will take on Takeshita and Fletcher. Australia Grand Slam Collision, gonna be on fire. It's so funny because I remember a few months ago talking about Fletcher and his run, and Mark Davis had came back and I was like, damn, potentially having Aussie Open in a match at this show particularly felt like it was in the cards, and it's like, no, Fletcher's going to be in a tag match, and a way different tag match. So it kind of feels bittersweet, but the tag match that they announced is going to be fucking crazy off the charts, you know?
Yeah. I do wish we would have gotten an Aussie Open match, but what we're getting is probably better. And I do think when Fletcher's music hits, he's going to get a great reaction.
Yeah. It's going to be big. Going to be a big show. Going to be a big moment. So, yeah, it seems so funny with all this D-Riders talk, Philip Lindsay, that the two things we just talked about, Hangman Adam Page and Ospreay, Omega, everybody involved in this. Exciting stuff. It feels like those things, that should be the world title scene. I think that's what the most glaring thing about the Death Riders things. Like, you see the beginning of the show and you're like, if the world title was involved in either of these things, it'd just represent so much more, but like it just doesn't.
That's true, but I also think with the two guys we're mentioning, well, really everybody we're mentioning outside of Ospreay, it's what a good amount of your core audience wants. They want the Elite Lord. They don't want this Death Rider stuff. Like they want the Hangman stuff. They want to see what's next for Kenny. They want to see what's next for Ospreay. Is Kota Ibushi gonna show up? Like that's the stuff they want to see. But yeah, the Death Rider stuff just continues to be the low point in the show for me. I thought the main event was fine. I mean, it's Pac. It's Pac and Copeland. Both of these guys wrestle well, but the stuff afterwards, we're still doing the same similar beatdowns every week. For some reason, they had FTR taped in the back. They gave the Rock and Roll Express concertos. Why are we doing any of this?
And listen, I like Cope. I'm a big fan, TLC, and that. But all of his matches are starting to kind of feel the same in AEW. It's like he lets the heel beat him up for the whole match. He does the double clap, the fans clap to get him up for his comeback. It's like this match is the same. And the issue is it's a fucking house show formula match. And we can't be ending AEW with started out hottest with fucking Ospreay and Omega with this shit. It has to be something hotter. So to go from an okay match into shenanigans again, and Jay White's coming out looking like an idiot without friends, and you guys are going to do the same old beatdown.
Yeah, where are the guns?
Where are the guns? Are they both injured?
Yeah, I know that Juice is injured, but where are the guns?
I don't know. It's unfortunate. I just hate it because it continuously it feels like this. It feels like we're in the Twilight Zone. Deja vu. I'm like, I just saw this last week. I just saw this 2 weeks ago. I just saw this 3 weeks ago. And I just want, I'm getting tired of the world pivot at this point because of the amount of times that I've seen it this week. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But there's some things that could happen that could save this. But if we continue in this pattern, I'm out of it.
Yeah, it's not good. As I talked about in the article, I think one of the biggest issues here is we haven't learned anything new about the Death Riders, and they've been doing this. If you want to count since All Out, they've been doing this since August. We've learned nothing new about this group. Mox is still cutting the cryptic promos that people don't understand. None of the other members of the group have gotten any real character development. I mean, Yuta has in some ways. He's growing his hair out. He looks like a sheepdog now, with his bangs covering his eyes. But because I mean, we've seen like the comparisons to the Roman stuff, and the thing you could take away from the Bloodline stuff, even if the match didn't hit, even if the match is the same thing with the same interference and everything, at least the segments on weekly television is good because you cared about the inner workings of the group. You cared about like the soap opera and the drama among those guys. We don't know enough about these guys in this group as characters to care, and I think that's the missing aspect of it.
like, what's the mission statement? They haven't told us what they want. They haven't told us what they want of the people beating them up. Like, regardless of how I felt about the matches and the continued hoodies pulling out in the bloodlines, the main goal was still Roman Reigns being like, I want to be the tribal chief of my family. I want it. This is about this. This is about this is a main goal. Death Riders never say what their goals are. They're just like, we beat people up. Moxley, like you said, still doing the cryptic shit. The belt, you got the belt. Like, I don't really. What do you want? Why are you guys fighting everybody? Tell us why.
Yeah, I think we've kind of lost the plot as well. And I said that before with the Hobbs feud, and I think that's why the Hobbs feud was better than what they're currently doing, because it seemed like it was back to what he was saying before of, all you guys are complacent. This is what you guys want to do. You guys want to just be here. You guys want to just be here and party. You don't want to be better. And so his promos hit. And I get also he's a heel, so he's supposed to be a bit of a hypocrite. But when he's cutting these promos and then everything looks repetitive, it's like, I don't want to see the same thing every week. I think, again, the issue here is people want to care about these characters, and then also people want to feel like you're doing something unique with your product. I want to tune into AEW and see something that I'm not seeing anywhere else. This Omega and Ospreay stuff, I'm not going to see that anywhere else. That's something unique to your product. And I don't think that this Death Rider stuff is hitting that itch for people. It just, I don't know. It just, a lot of it. And if you've been following this podcast, I initially liked it. I initially liked what he was doing coming out of the Danielson match at Wrestle Dream. But I don't know, like, some of this is just like, we're still doing the same thing. We're not
exactly. Yeah, I just thought the angle was going to skew younger, as they say. Like, I thought that the foes and the oppositions were going to continue to be Jay White and Hangman and all those young up and coming guys like Garcia but as soon as the story switched over to whatever it is now with Copeland and FTR and the Rock and Roll Express, I'm like, this isn't really. Like, I don't want, like, I'm not like, we need to get restitution for the Rock and Roll Express. Like, no disrespect to them, but like, why are you beating them up? What does that say for for what you're doing here?
What does that have to do with the soul of AEW? Like, right, I don't get it. I get this is supposed to, and I think the other thing here, and I've been thinking this for a few weeks, is I don't think people want to boo Mox. I think this isn't getting enough heat on him. I think people like Mox, and I think people want to see Mox. I don't think it's necessarily that people don't want to see Mox as champion. I just think people want to see Mox as champion giving it up, and this is not it. Like, I think people are looking around like, no, I don't want to boo him doing this, and I don't think the stuff he's doing is necessarily working to get heat on him. And I've seen people say, well, people don't like the storyline, so it's working. I don't think that it's working in that way. I think if he was generating heat and people were booing him, that's one thing. But people are saying they don't like the storyline and they don't want to see this on TV. They're not saying that they don't like these characters. They're saying that the stuff that the characters are doing are the low point of the show.
Yeah, it's like go away heat. It's not hitting like, I hate these guys, they're angry for what they did. It's like, no, I'm going to turn this fucking show off heat, and that's way different. Yeah, I think that's one of the main stories of it, Phil, is like, before they started this Death Riders thing, Moxley was a babyface. He was one of the biggest baby faces in the company. Like, he was the spirit of AEW. And then they did this to Brian, and like, you still haven't done enough things to garner heat and to garner the people that love you to hate you, because all those people are like, okay, that's unfortunate for Bryan Danielson, but we still love Mox. He's still the guy that rallies the team to get into this, and he still kind of feels like he represents that. Like, he's trying to say, like, we're bad, we beat up your favorite guys, but you're still saying what the spirit of Mox has always represented. So it's still hard for the people that are supposed to boo you.
Yeah. I mean, even during the Bryan feud, he was saying a lot of things that I was like, he kind of has a point. Right. Like, he's kind of right about this. So I just don't think it's working enough to get the heat on him. And it's just hard to get him to work at the heel, because, I mean, technically when he first got there, when he debuted at the heel, and he was getting massive reactions. He was getting cheered.
Against Kenny Omega, getting huge pops.
Yeah, he was coming out there beating his brains in, like putting him through glass tables and stuff, and people were like, "Yeah, go Mox."
Do it again. Get the barbed wire. Set him on fire against the main baby face here. Like he just has that energy, and it's still like, I guess it's because it's like the cool heel factor of like the things that you're doing is like nobody's going to be mad at you for beating up the Rock and Roll Express. Nobody's going to be mad at you for beating up half the guys you do. When you beat up like Hobbs and Jay White, it feels like it doesn't hit like you think it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the thing that some people have complained about with AEW, and the thing that some of the core audience enjoys, is that they don't try to act like the audience is stupid. And when you do things like this that are very clearly done to get heat, it's just not working because your audience is smart enough to know that, okay, you're doing this because you want me to boo you. And if they don't want to play along, they're just not going to do it. And I think that bothered people coming in when Cody was saying things like, oh, we're not going to be beholden to, the usual heel and face dynamic. People did not like that. But I do think that gave us some of their better storylines, and that gave us some of their better characters, because it wasn't the same thing we see all the time. And I think some of this stuff isn't working because of that.
Yeah, exactly. If you condition your fans to be like, we're not going to bullshit you, we're not going to do it. And like AEW has hardcore fans. That's just the funny thing about people complaining this week. They're like, well, it's just the internet marks that blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, the AEW's crowds are different than WWE crowds. Those are hardcore wrestling fans in those crowds. Why do you think Hangman Page is so over? Because people know of his online shit. People are on Blue Sky. People know of the lore on top of what they see on TV. So when people are expressing themselves and doing this, those are the same people that are on the internet. There's not this big separation between internet fans and AEW in-crowd fans because they're all internet fans.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all of this I'm saying is not to say, oh, I don't like Mox or I don't like this angle. I like Mox, and I initially liked them changing from being Blackpool Combat Club to being the Death Riders. But I just don't think they've done enough to fill in the blanks over the last few months to make this really connect. And I think that's been a missing piece. And I think people keep waiting for some kind of revelation like, oh, that's what it is. Like, why did Pac join them? Did we ever get like a real reasoning for why Pac joined them?
That was just about to be my question, because like he's been on fire. Like all of his matches have hit him showing up everywhere they are, and he's in his gear when they have regular clothes on. Hilarious. But like, what is he? Why though? Like he hated Bryan Danielson, and then he started. One day they were friends. I'm like, but he always hated Bryan Danielson so much. So that could be a part of why. But he never explained why they're staying. Why is Claudio there staying? Claudio is this like wrestling machine, usually no nonsense type of guy. Why is he into the nonsense now? I don't really like they just like never continued telling the story of people that love storytelling.
Correct. And I mean, you even have something good going with Yuta. You could see that there's a semblance of story and character work there, but they haven't filled in the blanks with him. Like, okay, why did
is this a vehicle for Yuta? If it is, like, okay, I'm into it, but I don't think that's what this is though,
Yeah, like for Yuta, why did he decide to go back and work with them after he was distraught about what they did to Bryan in the first place? Did we ever get a real answer to that?
No, he just started dressing like him.
Yeah, and now he's like doing the Solo Sikoa bit where he's the guy that comes in and interferes every time, and it's getting heat on him. But at the same time, it's like, all right, but why is he doing this?
Right. But why?
Why is he doing it? Like, I don't. We
like,
haven't
does he
got
want
an
to
answer.
be champion? Is he like what was the switch from? He's mad at Bryan to they started making him the fucking loser of the company of the group and pushing him down and beating him up to like, oh, now he's the Solo Sikoa who's gonna save every Mox match. I'm like, what? There's so many questions. I guess that's the thing. And like Mox, you said, continuously does the cryptic promo, so we never get any questions answered. He just like Copeland. I'm like, dog, can you tell me why?
And the promos are great because his delivery is great. It's Mox, so a lot of this stuff is good because it's him and he knows how to sell us on things. But it's like, dog, you've been selling on this for 6 months or so, almost, and what you selling us on at this point? Like, I don't.
We like to put bags on people's heads, but what did those specific people do to make them have to get a bag on their head? You know what I mean? Like Rock and Roll Express weren't taking people's TV time. So there's just a lot of moments. But again, and I guess Darby plays a big part because people in their brains are just like, this is the thing. We're waiting for Darby. Like, we can't wait for Darby. That can't be the thing. I'm just okay, Darby, I understand you want to climb a mountain, but that means you got to get to the back of the line. Like, we got to restructure everything if that's the case, because we can't do this.
You can't. You cannot wait for Darby to come back, I think you've got to figure out, like, if you finish this Max feud and you're making Hangman a babyface, your logical next step is for him to challenge Mox.
Yeah. And the fact that, like I said, Ospreay fucking acknowledged it this week and said, when I'm done with this shit, I want to get to that. You can't have Ospreay just lingering around, not a part of this, you know?
You can't. I just don't think you can wait that long. Because he's supposed to be out for months. This isn't like he's going to go and train for a little bit and go climb this mountain and be back next week. No, he's supposed to be out for months. I don't think you can keep this storyline going for months, at least not in the way that you're doing it. If you don't change course in some way with the storyline, it's just not going to work.
This is the most I've ever seen the spaces that I exist in and things that I read of people being like universally down on an AEW thing. Like, I've never seen this. Like, every social media platform that I go on is the same. And usually it's like, there's definitely some people that are like, I like it, blah, blah, blah. But most of it is people being like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's a new Reddit thread started every 5 minutes of someone being like, this Death Rider shit is not working in the AEW thing, the squared circle, like every different thread, somebody's being like, what's up with this? How would you change it? What would be your next logical step? Like, I've never seen so many people say the same things.
It feels similar to when people turned on the devil stuff. Once people were out on the devil stuff, they didn't care. They just wanted it to be over. And it's just not a good sign. Because, again, the year one AEW show, we would get those kind of angles like this opening segment. But then also, I think we would get this match at the end or a cliffhanger that would get people like, oh, man, I can't wait to watch next week. This main event stuff is not getting me like, oh, man, I can't wait to finish the show. Like, to be completely honest with you, there's been like 2 or 3 shows in a row where the stuff is ending and I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch the rest of it later because I know I got to watch it for the podcast.
Right, exactly. And that's not a good thing. Like, we shouldn't be dreading the main event, the world championship. Like, this is the part of the show where we should be like, can't wait to see that. And it feels like months and months of the same old shtick. And like, if we're trying to make it to, people keep saying, what about All Out is when Darby gets hit? All Out, dude, that's in July. We're in January still. Like, I can't. That's so long. That's like, that's not the way to go.
Long. That's too long. And I mean, I don't even mind this being a long-term storyline because I've seen some people like, you got to let it play out, of course. But again, that in order for it to get to that place where people are interested in the destination, you got to get us invested in these characters. Like, other than I just like all of these wrestlers, I like all of these guys in this group because I like them as wrestlers. But as characters, why should I care about anything they're doing? I don't think they've given us any reason. Like, Marina's prime example. I think she fits the bill perfectly here. She looks great standing next to Mox. I think that it's a cool visual and all these other things. I love that he brought in a female heater and it's working. I love that she's always all about the action. I love that she's always the first one that'll start the fight. But what is it? Like, what's the character? What's the motivation at this point?
What is anyone's motivation? Yeah, people keep telling us to let it play out and story, and you don't know what you're talking about. You're interacting marks. This is just the beginning, blah, blah, blah. I think this has been happening, like Phil said, since August, dog. Like, how much, like, you're already telling me what the story is, and I'm not enjoying it. and a lot of people are not enjoying it. So what's gonna change? Like you said, it's just like the devil thing. When people are out, they're out. It's very hard to get them back, and you're not. It's not like you are attempting to get those people back. You're just like, nope, let's hammer it on. Let's go even harder on the things that we're doing. And I'm like, good luck.
I mean, you can turn it around. I don't want to sit here and say that there's no way to turn it around. But I just think in the current direction you're going in, there's no way people are going to be still into this thing 3 months from now.
No. When your core, the hardcore, when those hardcores are like, nah, not into it, that's a bad sign. But again, you have so many refreshing things on the show, and there's a good chunk of it, 85 to 90% of it that's hot, that like you can still do these things. You just have to restructure and you have to move forward. Speaking of things on the show, we talked a little bit about it earlier and how conflicted we were. There was a tag team championship match. Philip Lindsay, Private Party, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, took on the challengers of gigantic Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Syndicate. Going into this match, I was already having the emotions. Private Party still plays such an important role for AEW and represents such a fond memory and place in my heart. I watched since Max has added in the early AEW episodes, the match where that got me super into it. I was already into them, but when they wrestled the Young Bucks and they won in the tournament to crown the AEW Tag Team Champions, and just what that was and what that represented and how that felt. And so a few months ago, they had the things again with the Young Bucks, and there was a moment that they probably should have pulled the trigger at a pay-per-view, but they took a little bit of time, and they ended up doing it on a show, a Dynamite. And the momentum wasn't in the right place, and it never felt like there was a super emphasis on them being tag team champions. So it was unfortunate that what was going on. And so Hurt Syndicate comes in here, Phil, and they're just dog. The energy is crazy. People are loving what Shelton Benjamin's doing. People are just loving. Bobby Lashley only did like 1 or 2 matches, but people are going crazy. They're going ham for this guy. Just his presence is driving people insane. And so when they announced this match, Her Syndicate's going to take on Private Party for the Tag Team Championship, the writing was on the wall for me. Like, you just knew what was going to happen here. You knew where this match was going. All these things that went into getting to Private Party to this moment, it felt sad because you're like, damn, it's going to end this quickly. And so the match starts happening, and the crowd is it's like 95-5 into the Hurt Syndicate. Everything that they're doing, the crowd is getting more into it. Shelton's dragging Mark Quinn across the damn floor, slamming him from pillar to post into the guardrail, into the apron. And the crowd's like, do it again, one more time. They're slamming Zay through the announce tables. They're just dragging the Private Party. And the crowd is like, yes, we love this. And they're supposed to be the heels, Phil. So like, I'm having the feels, and I'm like, damn, Private Party, I don't want to go out like this. Like, it just felt like not the way I would want that reign to end. And the crowd is just so ham. But at the same time, I understand why the crowd's ham, because seeing Her Syndicate destroy these guys was pretty badass. And like, thinking of that when they started the match and they were like, Bobby Lashley has never been a world tag team champion, I was all, that's crazy. And then it's like, but he's also on a team with somebody who's fucking the king of tag team championships. So it's like, there's no way these guys are going to lose, Phil. So they end up just running through these guys, gigantic spears. They're just tearing these guys apart. Her Syndicate wins the tag team championships. And it's a bittersweet moment because as someone who's a connoisseur of Black pro wrestling, this is all of my elements. 2 black tag teams, 2 amazing teams. Everything about it is great. But it's like Private Party didn't get their due, but you can't deny what Hurt Syndicate did. So it's a weird space to exist in. How did you feel about all of this?
I mean, I felt like the writing was on the wall. When you look at some of the news reports we were getting recently, there was that report. I don't know where it came from, but it was a clip of Shelton saying that he enjoyed working with Chad Gable, but the tag team just didn't work, and he didn't know why it didn't work. And then we also got what you said, the Bobby had never been a tag team. And from the Chris Van Vliet interview or wherever, he was saying he wanted to do the tag team with Brock Lesnar. That didn't materialize. And so when I saw them doing the tag team stuff, I was like, oh, man, they're going to put them belts on them. I could just feel it. And multiple things here. I don't think that Private Party was booked well as champions. I think that they had a good story going into their championship win. I still think they mishandled that. I still think they should have won at the pay-per-view. And I think they started that off on a wrong foot. And then even after that, I don't think that you capitalized well off of their story going into their win.
Right.
I don't think you capitalized well enough on even their interactions with the Death Riders, because they just went back to being the exact same characters as champions. Like, oh, well, we're partying. They won the belts and went right back to partying. It's like, well, wait a minute. Did you guys learn your lessons or no?
Like, they didn't even try to get revenge on getting his hand broke. It was just like, all right, we won the championship. Let's move forward. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they didn't go back to be like, fuck you, we did this. Like, throw it in your face. Like, it was just like, let's take these shots and move forward. We are the exact same things that we were.
Right. And so I just don't think that they were booked well as champions. I don't think that they were necessarily even given a fair shot. The thing that AEW usually does when you can tell somebody's going to have a short reign, they load them up with title defenses and they have the cool matches in between. They didn't even get that. It just felt like, oh, here's a handful of things here. Here's a match here. Oh, man, we've got this really hot thing in Hurt Syndicate, and these guys are out of here, man. They're hot. The theme song is over. When they come out, the crowd is chanting the theme song. They now added that aspect to their presentation with the announcement. I thought that was hard. Like,
crazy.
Justin Roberts saying they hurt people. I was like, bro.
Yeah, wow.
and just the reaction to it, I was like, yo, it's over. And so just watching the match and just seeing it, I said, yeah, this is over. They're gonna win. And very conflicted because I like seeing them with gold, and I do think that this was probably it's hard to deny this was the right move because they're so over right now. But man, did they do Private Party a disservice, man. I just wish they would have done more with them. And I do think they're kind of doing Danny a disservice as well. I don't think that they're booking him well as TNT champion either.
No, I was just about to be like, he's the champ. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, I think that both of them, the moment was bigger than the reign. And like,
yes,
wrestling in general needs to figure out, because it's a kind of across the board thing. It's like they're like, the crowd is into it, the fan, like all the elements are there for whatever the moment is, and then you get the big moment, but there's like no follow-up. And it's like, I don't want the moment if you're not going to give me follow-up, because it's like it kind of makes the moment, doesn't make the moment hit as hard. Like Private Party had this great thing and all this stuff, and now I'm just remembering, oh, they only had one real defense and then they got dragged by the Hurt Syndicate. Like, that's not really what I wanted as them being tag team champions.
It's unfortunate because I said Dan, because Dan, it looked like, because they had the match in the C2, it looked like Shelton was going to come gunning for the TNT title. He had that episode where he held the belt over his head, and so I said, oh no. I kind of started to feel like Dan was doomed. He was going to take his belt. And then when they switched gears and they did this segment with Private Party, I said, dang, man. There was no way, seeing the way all three of these guys were booked, that having interactions with Hurt Syndicate, these guys were coming out of this with their belts. I just didn't see it. Yeah, I felt like either Danny was going to lose his belt or Private Party was going to lose their belt.
Yeah, Hurt Syndicate just came in as this like train of, you're not stopping this. Like, they're gonna take somebody's shit, like figurative and literally. You know what I mean? Like, as wrestlers, you're like, these fools will come and take all your shit. But it's like the crowd, like I said, how the crowd is reacting to them, have been reacting to them. They've added the chant into the song, and like, these guys are just undeniable. And you knew that somebody was gonna get their shit took. I didn't think it was gonna happen to Private Party like this, but I understand.
Yeah, I don't like it. I just don't like how they were booked. I don't even like how this loss went for them. Because like, where do you go with?
The theme song was weird. There was nothing.
The interest was
weird.
interest was weird. For some reason, they played the new theme, and then when they got to the ring, shots started playing. I don't know what's going on there.
And then Zay looked at so confused, like the way he looked at the entrance of like, what the fuck's going on?
He looked not happy with the entire thing. The look on his face walking down, and then when the music was messed up, it felt kind of like it felt kind of like the scene from Notorious was where Biggie's like, all I want is some shoes that fit. It's like, dog, y'all didn't even give us a good reign. We can't even have a entrance that worked coming down either. Like, what is this?
Like, just like thinking of how your reign went, and then like, okay, this is our last one before we lose our belts, and then you can't even get our theme to work right. That's got to be pretty unfortunate. Not a way to do it. It just sucks that it happened like that way. And then I get online and I see people being like, AEW did it again, booking their WWE guys over their homegrown talent. And I was like, that isn't the greatest look, Phil. You know?
It's not a great sign. And that's why I was worried that Shelton was probably going to beat Garcia. And this is what I'm saying. It's just, I think when you see what this is, and this is, again, a byproduct of the Death Rider stuff, because you see, like, if it seemed like the storyline was getting the younger guys that were initially the baby faces going against them to, like, elevate their game and step up. Now what are we doing? We're just now moving to another ex-WWE guy in the mix.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good sign. I don't think that it
looks away.
The optic doesn't look great.
As something that they've been fighting against, of like, even like the story that Death Rider, if you go back to the story that they're originally telling people to do, we need AEW's to people to fight for AEW, and like a fucking WWE legend is the one that's fighting for it. It's just kind of confusing. And then it happens here, and it's like, I think they deserve to be in these opportunities, and they deserve to have these moments. And the Hurt Syndicate, after what kind of happened at the end of their run and what happened with WWE, like this is great for them, but like Private Party got a raw fucking deal out of all this.
Yeah, they did.
Especially when I thought that they were gonna get the tag team. Well, I was like, oh, Young Bucks are doing some great things at the end of their reign. Private Party is gonna come start doing these defenses every week, getting it established, and it just didn't happen like that.
Right. I mean, happy for Hurt Syndicate, happy for MVP. I think that this is great. I think it's great that we're getting to see them in front of a live audience, and we see that this works, because I still think that was the issue with Hurt Business in the first place, is that you had something that people liked in the Thunderdome, and you never gave it a chance to thrive in front of live audiences so you could see that it works. And we're seeing it. We're seeing that this is working. And so that's why I'm saying I can't really disagree with the idea of, hey, let's just go ahead and run full force with it. Let's put the titles on them, because these guys are hot, because they're hot. I get it.
What happens with this reign? Do you think, I talked about it a little bit earlier, if they come in here being who they are, dragging fools, and have this dominant run for 4 months or some shit, like this could really do something for the tag team championships. Do you think they will, though?
I don't know. It's a mixed bag. They don't have the greatest track record.
Not a good sign off of the Private Party, you know?
Yeah, they don't have the greatest track record of doing these kind of things with the tag belts and it being about tag team wrestling. So I don't know. If it were me booking this, I think straight away you should do like the biggest matches possible with these guys. Put them in there. Like, man, at this point, do the Takeshita and Fletcher match with them. Just get some big matches with them.
Buddy and Brody.
Yes. Yeah, you got to get to the big matches with them, because otherwise, I don't want this to look like just let's put the belt on them because they're hot and then just have them carry them around so they have some gold.
Hate it. My least favorite trope. Or get them into the, like I said, give them the championships and then they're in a different division tomorrow. Like, actually, we do want Shelton to beat Daniel Garcia. And it's like, wait, have him defend the championship that he has, though. Like, we didn't even talk about that aspect with the Death Rider shit. They have the Trios Tag Championships, and you wouldn't even know. Like, you would, like, when's the last time you saw a Trios belt, Phil?
I don't get it, man. I don't get what they're doing with any of that. Because you can make some semblance of sense to the world title stuff of Mox saying, no, you don't get to see the world title. This is how you guys treated it. I'm protecting it from this company. I'm protecting it from you guys. Why are you doing it with the trios titles, though? I don't understand that.
Championships that still need to be established that we don't even know the full story on.
I don't get it.
It's just so much, dude, man. It's crazy. It's wild. So yeah, it's a bittersweet moment with these tag team. The tag team. I feel like every time there's a new tag team champion, I come on this show and I'm like, I hope that things change for this division, but I'm gonna keep it real. I don't have a lot of hope at this point because they just keep doing wrong by the tag division, and this company is built off back in tag team wrestling.
Exactly. It's frustrating that this is the thing that coming out the gate, they did very well. They did better than most other companies. And now it's like, hey, man, get back to that tag team stuff you were doing. That was kind of fun.
I'm going to be like my brother, Philip Lindsay. Bring back the fucking tassels, man. Bring back the fucking tassels. That's the only way.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's another reason why I'm confused at the Copeland stuff, because the thing people want to see that you can't see in WWE that you could see here is the Christian and Cope reunion. Why aren't we getting to that? Why are we trying to push these guys as world champions? They've done that. They've been world champions. Like, at this point in their career, I want to see that. Like, the thing that you could do now that you couldn't do over there is a tag team run.
Fucking bars, dog. I hadn't even thought. I'm like, all we know is these fools are as world champions at this point. Like, the fucking Edge and Christian tag team is like some super distant memory that they only randomly bring up when they're talking about these TLC matches. But them both coming into this company, the allure and the draw was, damn, maybe they'll tag up and wrestle the Young Bucks. Maybe they'll tag up and wrestle FTR. Maybe they'll tag up and wrestle all these great young tag teams. And it felt like, in interviews, I feel like every time Cope does an interview, he's like, yeah, we should do that. But then, like, they don't do anything to show that on TV.
Yeah. I don't get it. I feel like I've said I don't get it quite a few times in this episode, but I don't get it. I don't get why we're doing something that people don't like, and you're not doing this thing that people want to like, and I don't understand.
Wrestling is so funny because the promoters will come out, and wrestling kind of the last 20 years or something has been based on them being like, we listen to our fans and we give them what they want. And like, I've seen in real time AEW listen to their fans. Like, they do something on the show and then social media is like, we don't really like this Dan Lambert shit. Maybe you should chill. And then the next week that Dan Lambert shit's gone. Like, I want to know why, like I said, this is the most universally AEW thing I've ever seen people come together on. There's no way that every single person in the company's ignoring all this, right? That's not how this works, right?
No. There's also this current trend with AEW of someone just disappearing from TV with no explanation. And then there are things that there'll be something that happens. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Where's this guy? When all the Christopher Daniels stuff was happening, I was like, okay, well, Frankie Kazarian can't be there to celebrate his retirement with him. Where's Scorpio Sky?
Remember when Scorpio Sky was standing outside a private party's locker room and then they were like, you can't come in. Then he went in, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a great point that you brought up. Like, yeah, what did they bring out Scorpio to at least be like, Chris Daniels, I was there with you for a lot of this.
Yeah, nothing. That was interesting. Yeah, there are a few people that are just not on TV, and then I'll think about them one day. Yeah, where's that guy? Like, Wardlow. Where's Wardlow? There's a few people like that. Is he injured?
Interesting. There's sometimes, like a little explanation, a little something. Like, I wonder what happened to that person. But yeah, there's some pros, there's some cons, there's some highs, there's some lows. AEW's in a interesting period. I'm enjoying them being in the smaller venues because I think they just visually come across better on TV. I think the crowds are more lively in the small venues. Like all of it, there's a lot of positive things to get into, but then like this Death Rider stuff has been so glaring and so prominent over everything that I'm just like, I don't know what's gonna happen moving forward.
Yeah. Chat is letting me know that Warlow's injured. That's why I was wondering. So yeah, hopefully he's doing well. But there's a few people like that where I'm like, wait, where is this guy? I almost forgot about him.
Crazy where they were and what they are now. What else happened? Mercedes and Harley.
This is funny in twofold because Mercedes is saying, "Well, I'm going to Australia to wrestle," and then she just shows up like, "Hey, I want to wrestle in Australia. You got an opponent?" And it's like, "No, I don't have an opponent, but I don't think it's you." And she was hilarious in this segment. I wish they would allow Mercedes to do more stuff similar to this where she just shows her personality because when Harley started singing and she gets to the part where she says, "You might know me backstage as the woman with," then she looks down and Mercedes is looking around like, "Oh, okay."
And then she starts dancing in it. Like she just shows so much personality when it's not like, go out there and do a wrestling promo. Mercedes, be the wrestling thing. It's like, it feels some more natural. It feels like she does it not playing a character. And like, I know she's not, like, it just, something is like disconnect that you see glimpses of her character that I think should be emphasized more. And maybe being in with Harley and some people like that will bring that out. I thought that she did make a great point. Harley's song was hilarious, by the way. But Mercedes being like, "Dog, you haven't even won a match on TV. Why are you even talking to me?"
Yes. And I saw immediately people being upset, like, Harley better not be the match. And I was thinking, guys, that's the bit. That's the joke. That's the joke. This better not be the Harley match. Now, watch us show up here in a few weeks and Harley's the match. And we're going to be like, well.
I mean, if anybody has worked hard for a match and every moment that they've ever had on TV has been built up for this, Harley Cameron, undeniable. Like it wouldn't be the craziest thing of her being on TV on that show from what she's done for this company, you know?
Yeah, it's a collision. I think people keep trying to make this out to be a pay-per-view. If this was Mercedes' next pay-per-view match, I'd be looking around thinking, no, please no.
Honestly, I'm more excited about the prospect of what happens after tonight and what happens on Dynamite. Like
me too.
4-way match for the winner faces Mercedes. I'm like, any of those, if they run back her and Aminata, man, her and Deonna, like, sign me up 1,000 times, brother.
I think it should be Deonna. There's been a lot of people online saying they should be doing more with Deonna.
Yeah. That's one of the most confusing bits is Deonna constantly, but like they could bring her back tonight, do that match, please.
Yeah, but I mean, if you also give us Mercedes versus Yuka, I'm not gonna say no to that.
Mercedes and Japanese women 90% of the time has hit at this point, so that would be great. I think all the options are like good shit, but yeah, if Harley gets it, I wouldn't be surprised. It's Collision. It's a big show in her home country. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah. All Mercedes. That vlog she put up from Wrestle Dynasty, really great stuff. But it's again to my point about just how funny she is and just how naturally charismatic she is when she's not doing some of these stilted promos. Because when she's standing backstage and she's like has all of the belts draped all over her, and Mina's walking down with her head down, walking past her, and she's just like, "Yeah, better keep walking."
She's just a funny bully, but it's like she doesn't really mean it. She just being like I'll do that, but I don't want to do this. She's so good. She's perfect. She's such a great wrestler, and it feels like naturally and slowly she'll become more, that'll come out more in AEW. I'm just kind of excited about her future. Good stuff going on there.
Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff on Dynamite I enjoyed outside of the ending of the show and some other stuff that I have not been into, and I've been vocally saying I'm not into, that I don't want to continue to rehash.
Yeah, not into it. Not with me. Adrian Carpenter has a interesting super chat here concerning AEW. He says, thoughts on the news that AEW and Amazon Prime have a deal to air pay-per-views in US, Canada, and UK. Is this new? I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Is that a new announcement?
That exclusive? Like, what is that?
Because I assumed they were still going to distribute the pay-per-views through Max.
Which, by the way, not for nothing, since it's been on since January 1st, life has been so much easier. Just pulling up Dynamite and that shit just plays on Max without any problems. Great. Yeah. Perfect. Amazing. Never go back to the old way.
Just being able to pull up replays as well. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
It's much better.
Chris Spire says, got to get rid of Death Rider group, not working.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
But they say we're just a bunch of internet marks. Chris Spires also says, problem with AEW, they do not pivot very well, which is like a gift and a curse. Because a lot of initially their problem was it's just matches, there's no story. Now they're like, here's the story and we're going to keep fucking telling it. And we're like, could you change it up a little bit? And they're like, nah, you guys want a story? It is. So it's like gift and a curse because you guys wanted this.
Correct. I guess this announcement about Amazon Prime is coming from WrestleNomics.
Oh, interesting. They posted that today?
Yeah, a few hours ago.
That could be a thing. I don't know. I'd have to research some more to see what it's like,
Yeah, I haven't read the actual announcement, so I don't know much about it.
That'd be big if it's true, though. Big if true.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Like if they have AEW and basketball here in this coming year, that's a big deal. Grapple Geekery says, the Death Riders and Learning Tree has all involved people I love, minus Jericho at this point. I have tuned out of both and wrestlers involved. Is that who you were talking about? The other thing that doesn't really float your boat, Philip Lindsay?
It is.
You don't like King of New York, Chris Jericho?
No, I do not.
Because why? What is it?
It's just not good. It's not good, and I just wish they would do something else with the two guys that are standing next to him that I have way more interest in at the moment. I think that they've been fighting the tide with Jericho for a year now, and it's fucking annoying. I don't want to keep ranting and raving about it, but he hasn't done anything that I've liked in over a year.
Yep. And they stripped everything that Brian Keith is. It's so confusing. It's one of the most confusing things ever. Like, what's Brian Keith? And I'm like, he still wears the leather vest?
Yeah. And when you consider, like, Ring of Honor and, like, it's just annoying. I just wish they would do something else with Ring of Honor. I don't like nothing. I don't like nothing about this.
I'm like, wait, are they teasing, like, the big homie winning the Ring of Honor World Championship? Because that sounds crazy.
Who, Big Bill?
No, but Hobbs.
Where are you getting that from?
Because they're teasing, they're doing the fight tonight, and Jericho's like, we have to get rid of Hobbs. They're like making this emphasis on Hobbs, and I'm like, what does that mean?
That's a choice. I finally found it. This is coming through WrestleNomics. Is a report that Amazon Prime Video to be another AEW pay-per-view carrier in 2025. Amazon Prime Video will likely be added to the list of digital pay-per-view carriers for AEW this year. WrestleNomics has learned this hasn't been confirmed by AEW or Prime Video, both of which reached out to but have yet to respond. So yeah, there's no official announcement yet. This is just a report coming out of WrestleNomics.
Oh, gotcha. So a WrestleNomics report. They're pretty good with things. It could be a thing. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. This is the first time I'm ever hearing of this. So yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, I think that's good. That the more outlets they get their pay-per-views on, that's good.
Like I was just saying, saying that the Max shit is great. So being on another one would be amazing. Vince Winblay says Shazza has had her visa renewal denied, so she has to get it signed. She needs to get signed somewhere, or next year she's being deported. Bullshit. Shazza McKenzie had her fucking visa denied. She was been applying a lot of money since being here in America to try to get it, try to stay here, and things are pretty wild in court and things being passed and denied and stuff's pretty hectic there at this point.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully that works out for her. I don't know enough about the visa situations, but it seems frustrating.
Yeah, everything's pretty frustrating at this point. That's all of our super chats for now. I appreciate everybody for submitting those.
We got a humper chat from Javier from Texas. He says, love AEW, but they're becoming all elderly wrestling. I thought to myself the other day that maybe Dan Garcia would have been better off on NXT 2.0. That's an issue sentence. How did it get to this? Still holding out hope for a course correction. Yeah, I don't know if I would go that far. I believe he would be better off in NXT 2.0, but just based on the fanfare after he signed, I would have thought that they had more for him as champion, and they just haven't gotten to it. Like Reg said, they did really well with the moment, but the follow-up hasn't been great.
And I thought there's a couple glimpses when they had him face Okada and all these things. Like it felt like they were going to invest into it again, but they just haven't. Just bring back the open challenge thing.
Yeah,
easy bit.
I thought that they were going to do that by now.
I don't know.
That is all of our humper chats for now. Appreciate you guys.
Y'all are dope.
Let's run down this quick Saturday night main event card that we're going to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to run down. It's only 4 matches.
Right. It's back again, Phil, so quickly. What they said they're doing 4 of these things a year?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Back again.
Hogan?
He's been all over these commercials, man. And every time a commercial comes on, I'm like, can you guys change this and take him off?
You guys could edit this so easily. The video guys are on call. They could just right quote. Where are they at? There in Texas? That's why Shawn Michaels is there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be in San Antonio, Texas at the Frostbank Center. But yeah, we got 4 matches. Mostly title matches. Got Braun Strowman taking on Jacob Fatu. This is something they've been building up on SmackDown. That should be a good matchup for Jacob. I'm assuming Big Jacob's going to pick up that win. Had a great promo last night. We're seeing more and more of him cutting his promos. I think that that's intentional. I've been considering what is Jacob going to do at WrestleMania for a while now. I have to assume he's going to enter the Royal Rumble. But I've been wondering, what do you do with him? Are you going to do a solo match at WrestleMania? Are you going to officially kick him out by April? Because it feels like it's heading in that direction.
He's just so over. He's every time he has a face off or something with someone that's kind of beyond what the bloodline is and what they represent, it's crazy reaction. He's getting over so well online, on both in person and online. He's one of the most over guys. I don't think you can deny this for too much longer, Yeah,
and I just think the fact that he's been cutting more promos with Tama Tonga next to him, it just kind of feels like he's getting ready to take over and kick Solo out.
Yeah. I don't know if they thought it was going to happen so quickly, but yo, this guy's crazy.
It feels like it's inevitable at this point, man. It almost writes itself. You could see him, you could see Solo getting beaten down, and he just comes in and looks like he's going to help him. And then he just leans in and says, I love you, Solo, and then starts stomping him out.
Does that mean anything? Because what's Roman doing? What does that mean for, I'm just trying to get the entire picture. Could he have a match with Roman? Is that in the cards?
I don't think
No?
they're going to do Jacob Roman at WrestleMania this soon. I don't think of Jacob's there, because if you're not going to do the Rock match, you're not going to pivot from Rock and go, all right, Jacob. You want something of that caliber. You want a match that's as big, and I don't think the Jacob match is that yet. It can be there eventually, but I don't think it's that yet.
But I mean, this is a great sign for Jacob at this point, getting a big match on the second Saturday night's main event, a fucking singles match. Like we know that they like him and they're invested in him.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's been clear since day one. The way they brought him in, giving him his own entrance and theme straight away. He had his own merch as soon as he came in. They've always treated him like, yeah, this guy is going to be something.
Amazing. Worth it.
Definitely. Overdue in my opinion.
That's a fact.
We also have Rhea Ripley taking on Nia Jax for the Women's World Championship. I'm kind of confused as to why they immediately went away from Nia versus Tiffany, because I thought that that's where they were going to go after the cash in, but instead Nia went to a completely other brand to challenge their champion, which kind of leads me to believe they're trying to keep Tiffany heel. But why? Because she got that great reaction. Now, personally, as a character, I think she works best as a heel.
I think so too.
It's just kind of weird that they went in this direction with Nia, because it's like, oh, well, I lost my belt to you. That belongs to me. But in order to get that back, I'm going to enter the Rumble. Or you could just challenge her to a match.
Yeah, I think Tiffany is such a better heel, but like that response, Phil, when she won the belt, like how could you? It'd be crazy to like go back to that direction. But if you're telling that story, that makes a lot of sense. I don't like the idea of Nia losing her championship and then immediately going to other brand to get a shot. Like she should have had to work for it. Honestly, there should be more contenders on that side where she shouldn't be able to be immediately slotted into the number one contendership with Rhea. Like, who's next for Rhea? Why is she wrestling Nia in this point?
Yeah, I didn't understand that direction, but
should be a fun match.
This is fine. This is fine for just Saturday Night Main Event. For what Saturday Night Main Event was last time, where it was basically just like some one-off kind of house event style matches. This works. I think that's going to be fine. They've worked together. They've worked before. They've had matches together before, and they have good chemistry. So I think it's going to be a good match. But I just didn't understand why she went from what seemed like a ready-made feud with Tiffany Stratton to, I'm going to go over there and challenge Rhea.
Champion's advantage.
I guess. I don't know. Well, I think it's going to be easily match at night. It's Braun Breaker versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Champion. They haven't really had a big match for Braun in a while, so I'm glad that he's back on this card, and it's Sheamus. Sheamus is going to go full out.
I feel like this is Braun's first big match since the last Saturday night's main event. Has he done anything since then? Like, it feels like he's just been kind of waiting in the wings. They had the triple threat match. Him and Sheamus have been locked in this kind of feud for a while. Sheamus, I saw an interview this week that he said he don't care if he's stiff, like he don't care if he be beating his opponent's ass. He's a wrestler. I'm like, Sheamus is a funny ass guy because he really be fighting out there. He be throwing them fists, throwing them things. He got a great opponent to go against. Braun Breaker has been in these big single matches. He's really shown that he could go and he could do it. This is probably will be the match of the night.
Yeah. Very excited for that one. The main event is an interesting one. Well, I'm assuming this is going to be the main event because main event Jey Uso will be taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Do you think this is the end of Gunther as champion? You think Jey is going to win it?
No. I don't think, because I'm just like, I like Jey Uso, but it's like, is he all just entrance and yeet? Because I feel like WWE knows what they have and they knows that he's over, but like, are they invested in him being world champion? Is anybody invested in him being world champion, Phil?
I think people are invested in him being world champion. I just don't believe it. I've never quite believed that he would be world champion. I think that he's benefited greatly from the Bloodline storyline. At one point, he felt like the main character of that storyline, and because of that, fans love this guy. It's worked really well to get him over. The catchphrase is over. His theme song is over. His entrance is over. People just like this guy. He's charismatic. He's likable. He's in the best shape of his career. But I don't think he's going to be Gunther. And I think I could see why people have reason to believe it. It's kind of similar to what I thought last time with main event. Well, you could just give Kevin Owens this short reign. And the longer this has gone on, I kind of feel like they should have just done that. Instead of having him walk around with the winged eagle like he's champion. Maybe this would have worked better if he was just champion. But I digress. It feels like they wanted. Some people think they're going to do what I thought they should have done with Kevin Owens and give Jay this short run ahead of WrestleMania season, and maybe he drops it before WrestleMania, because there's nowhere in the world, no shade to Jey Uso, there's no way in the world that I believe that you're going to go this late in the game, give Jey Uso this title win, and then he's going to be the guy going into WrestleMania as champion. What is your story around that? Who's going to challenge him? I don't see that at all. There's way more options for Gunther as champion going into WrestleMania.
Because he already has stories laid out. You know what I mean? He already has established things that need to be, chapters that need to be closed. You know what I mean? But Jey Uso, they would have to start fresh. They're not going to run back him and Jimmy. That would be kind of them for the world title this time at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I don't see it, but
Gunther just has the more bigger marquee matches at WrestleMania, I think, than Jay does.
I agree, and that's why I don't see them putting the belt on him this late in the game, unless we're gonna do the Bray Wyatt thing, where you're gonna do a title change just to give Saturday Night Main Event a title change, and then by Elimination Chamber or Royal Rumble, he drops it to somebody else.
I could also see them doing the Shawn Michaels in '97 thing. Sid won the belt at the December pay-per-view and then got it right. Like, I could see him winning it and then maybe just losing it right back to Gunther in the rematch at Royal Rumble. But why? I mean, to make Saturday Night's Main Event worth it, it might hit, and they do like those moments, but there's been crazier things that happen. I wouldn't be the biggest surprise if, like, at the end of the night, Jey Uso was holding the world championship.
Yeah.
Rikishi would be happy.
He definitely would be happy.
Finally.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. And I do get the argument, because Gunther has felt lower down on the totem pole on Raw.
If we're talking about over, Jey Uso's way more over than Gunther is. But
absolutely, he doesn't feel like even the fourth top character on the show. When they promote the show, they've got Cody on the Netflix advertisement. They don't have Gunther on anything.
Yep.
When a lot of the news and stuff comes out, and like they have all of the stuff like around the main events on the show, it's not Gunther. It's still Rollins doing the main events. Like, they're still using Drew for those spots.
I was going to say he might be fifth on the totem pole, because what? Punk, Rollins, Drew, and Jay, like, those guys are all like over. You know what I mean? More over than him. That's fifth at least.
Yeah.
And Rhea might be over too if we're talking about women.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I could see it. I could see people saying he doesn't feel like the champion that should be going into WrestleMania. But that's, at one point, I kept thinking, all right, it feels like Punk's going to beat this guy before WrestleMania. It doesn't seem like that's the case anymore, but if you're going to pivot to that and go with Jay, see, the difference is, if you make Punk champion before WrestleMania, there's so much you could do with that. Currently, I don't see anything interesting you could do with Jay as champion going into WrestleMania.
Like, legit, I can't think of one match that's like, not one, not Roman, not nothing. Nothing will really do it.
No, and I mean, if this wasn't WrestleMania and this was just some other pay-per-view, maybe. But Jay going into WrestleMania and what they do at WrestleMania, and they want it to be a big match, I don't see it.
Right.
I could be wrong.
Could be wrong. We could, like I said, at the end of the night, we could see Jey Uso with that damn championship, but I just don't see it.
No. I mean, like I said, I can see the argument either way, but I personally, to me, I think Gunther's winning this thing. And I can also see it with the way that Gunther's talking, because if you just follow the usual heel face dynamic and how he's talking about him, like, man, you're a tag wrestler. You're a funny guy. You come out here and you do the catchphrase and people do your little dance with you, but man, that bell ring, you ain't him. You ain't me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could see him being proven wrong in this match and Jay out wrestling him. But
yeah,
also, it's Gunther. Like Gunther, don't make me be this guy. I don't believe he's gonna out wrestle Gunther because Gunther's a better wrestler than him.
Yeah, regardless, fuck all that being over. Fuck who gets pops. When Gunther gets into that ring, that fucking bell rings. There's not a lot of people in the world that are out wrestling this guy. So good fucking luck, Jay. Gunther just has like off the top of my head, Punk, Rollins, and Cena are all like marquee matches that he could have at WrestleMania. And that's 3 that I just pulled out of my hat. And like I said, for Jay, I can't think of anything. It just makes way more sense for Gunther to be it moving forward. But there's still Royal Rumble. There's still Elimination Chamber. There's still a lot of things that are going into before we get to WrestleMania. So it's up in the air at this point. Like, I don't even know if Gunther, even if he does beat Jey Uso tonight, like even if he'll make it to WrestleMania at this point, you know?
Yeah, I don't either. But I think that there's a better chance of him being this big obstacle for somebody to get past at WrestleMania.
Right.
Somebody texted me and was saying, yeah, I think Jay is winning. I was looking like, nah, if it's me, I think Gunther should chop this guy into oblivion.
He's so over, though, Phil.
I know, but I think that would make it even funnier if he just beats him decisively.
Just beats his ass. Because, like, the story that Gunther tells is true. Like, you are kind of a tag team wrestler, not really the one-on-one guy. Like, when it comes to main events, I'm the main event guy. I'll drag your ass.
And Gunther needs one of those kind of wins because he's lost some big matches and he's had to win with interference in some matches. I think he needs to beat a very over guy to get heat on him. Like, and I think, like I said, if it's me, I think he should beat him decisively. But I don't think that's gonna. I don't
Good
think that's
timing
gonna happen.
too, because like Jey Uso can afford losses and still be over. Like, it's not gonna do anything when he loses his match.
No, I think he's perfectly fine. I don't think this is gonna hurt him at all. But we'll see. I saw someone say on, I can't remember which podcast it was, but someone was saying that Rollins makes the most sense as Gunther's WrestleMania opponent, and I've been picking Rollins as my dark horse to win the Rumble. But what they said made even more sense because they were saying Gunther would respect somebody that had to survive the Elimination Chamber more than he would respect somebody that threw a bunch of people over a rope. Like if his WrestleMania opponent's the guy that had to get through a bunch of people in an Elimination Chamber to face him, that would feel like a bigger deal. And I kind of agree. I kind of feel like Rollins is going to win the Elimination Chamber match and challenge Gunther.
Rollins and Gunther. Yeah, that makes sense because I'm still leaning towards Cody and Cena at Mania for some odd reason. But that feels like the next logical step if they do Punk and Roman, and then Seth gets the title match because they were building that match for a while when Seth was champion. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But also wouldn't be mad if my guy wins the Rumble. So.
Yep, that could be a thing. Christopher Marino says you can have Drew try to screw Jay, but F it up and it leads to Jay winning instead.
Oh, I guess you can get there. Well, I didn't even think about that. But see, I don't buy that as a WrestleMania match because
Which one?
That does make sense. If Jay wins, Drew could be his WrestleMania opponent.
Oh, Drew. They kind of have been building this for a long time. Yeah.
But I don't know if I buy that as a WrestleMania match, but that is an option.
And like for the world championship, it adds some stakes. That's not the world. Yeah, I guess so. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, where's Drew gonna do if everybody else is locked into something? Where's Drew's place? Damian Priest got moved. Yeah.
Yeah, poor Mello, man. I don't know what they're doing with that guy over there. I don't get it, man. It seems like everybody that shows up over there that's the new guy on SmackDown just beats him.
It's like this thing of they say how great he is and they say all these things, but he doesn't show it with victories and things. Like if you just listen to them talk about Mello, you're like, this guy's the GOAT. But then you see him in his matches, he never wins. It doesn't feel like it matches how they talk about him. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. The way that they treated this, making him the first overall pick for SmackDown, and then this is how he's been booked for the entire time on SmackDown. I don't understand why they're doing that.
Right. It's weird. But it could be a thing. Rick Young says, Theory, they played wrong thing for Kenny and Private Party. Theory is not a theory. They did not play the wrong thing for Kenny Omega. It was a mix-up with the Private Party thing, so that's kind of more on the line. But the Kenny thing, they were supposed to play Battle Cry.
Really? I mean, I figured the Private Party thing was on accident. I wasn't sure on Kenny.
Yeah, no, the Kenny was supposed to, the Battle Cry thing was real. Private Party shit just got mixed up with some Titantron videos or something. Like something happened. It didn't go down the right way that it was supposed to. But I guess people were saying that because there were some other kind of production miscues or things on the show. So like they missed Kenny's moonsault the first time and shit. So some things were going on, but it wasn't an accident on Battle Cry. It's Battle Cry. Yeah. They're doing the face off on Saturday night main event too, right?
That's right. They're doing Cody, Kevin Owens with HBK in the middle, which Cody is hilarious because he's like, yeah, he's been in ladder matches, he's done this, and he has reasons to be in this. And I said, yeah, it's his hometown. I know. That's why he's there. It's Texas.
It's not
they want
like
a way to get him on the show in Texas.
Right. It's not like we never see this fool and it's going to be the first time in years. We see him almost every week on Tuesdays.
Yeah. Him and his boy, make sure we see him every time they get a chance.
It's a fact. CDs. Speaking of credit boys, Leonard Aarons III says Tripp must not see no talent in Carmelo. Winky face.
I don't know.
I think it's just a case of WWE. He's too small.
Well, it could be what they try to do with guys all the time. They try to beat somebody down to get people to be sympathetic for them, and then they'll turn them face, and then they'll eventually start getting them the wins. But I've never understood this idea that you have to make somebody a loser to get people to care about them, because people already care about Melo. So I don't know why they're doing this, but
adversity.
Yeah. Now they do it all the time. You got to beat this person down to get you to like them. I don't know why they keep doing that.
Sometimes, yeah, but not all the time. Sometimes they've already been through the adversity. We saw it, but I get it. That's all of our super chats. Appreciate everybody for submitting a super chat today. Appreciate everybody for supporting. Y'all are great.
I don't think we have any more Humper chats, but I will double check.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I was just like, oh, it's dead air. Sorry, guys.
I started yawning, stretching and shit. Like, oh yeah, we're still on.
That is our last Humper chat. Appreciate you guys as always. Appreciate the super chats. And again, appreciate you guys for supporting the new channel. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is www.com. www.com. Act like you've been here before. Act like you host a podcast, Phil. What is this? www.youtube.com/@Grapsody.
Subscribe to that. Pay again, we're still looking for the ideas of what you guys want on the thing. So like send us some messages on what you'd like to see on the page, but definitely subscribe to that. YouTube.com/@Grapsody.
Appreciate you guys as always. I don't have anything else. Look at us getting out of here before the 3-hour mark.
That's crazy. First time in a long time.
See that? You see that, my man? It was like, y'all are gonna get a 5-hour podcast. You know, you're not. No. No. No, you're not getting me in front of this microphone for no 5 hours. No.
100%.
Rest in peace to the Kimbe Mutombo.
Sure
No, not up in here.
We did it. 248. That's it.
Yeah. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsay. Righteous Reg. We are out of here.